Jesus Christ, what was that? Ouch! Haha, I knew that. I knew that. I was censored. I was not allowed to say what I was saying, and it's best that you didn't hear it. I was swearing the entire time. That was just a barrage of swear words. Welcome to the show. I'm Hal Sparks. This is Hal Sparks Mega Worldwide, and we are, of course, live every day except the holidays. I took a day off yesterday, of course, and then Thursdays we're on a little bit later. Also, I'm traveling a little bit this week. I will be in D.C. for the Sexy Liberal Comedy Show on Saturday. And still no sound? No, we're good. All right, we're good. You're just people catching up. Okay. So I'm flying in tomorrow, and so I will be in the air during normal showtime tomorrow afternoon. So what I'm going to do is more than likely roll into the hotel, get set up, and kind of either pop on and say hi or something, and then just do a morning show and an afternoon show on Thursday, if that's okay with everybody. I'll, kind of add a little time, just kind of do a little shufflage, if that's fine. Oh God, that's loud. I'm getting it in my ear because it's, this is what happens when I pop out the chat, mother trucker. So this is one. Hold on, the alert box is turned off. The audio thing is where the thing is, and these are all turned off. Excellent. So there are days when this show is not difficult to put together, but it's a task. It's a to dig up stuff, especially that we haven't covered before. A big problem with right-wing talking points is not only are they repetitive, but they don't give up on the old ones even when they pass. I'm getting okay, all right, alert box is messing with me. Hold on one second. I think it's an update in the thing, which will be there we go. Yeah, we got that. It's from somewhere. I'm going to have to hunt it down. There's a clinkly-dinkly sound in there somewhere, and by golly, I won't have it. I'm going to have to shut that page, and that'll do it. All right. Anyways, there's so much, as far as talking points that we've buried, quite frankly. I've been through them already. We've done them so many times. And especially the ones that are supposedly, are the crux of a lot of the baseline arguments that I'm making sure I have one other video too. There was one I was looking for that I'll get to. Okay. There are just days when it's hard to find new stuff, quite frankly. But the search of Mar-a-Lago has given us all kinds of special excuses from the right. And let's talk about Rudy. Exactly. Let's go back through his talking points again. Now, some of these things I can't help but take personally. I have been, as you know, recently blocked by Dan Bongholio at Fox News. I'm as depressed about it as you guys are. And I didn't want to have a sock puppet account so that I can peek around corners. But damn it, I may have to with this clip. And also the sort of standard by which these folks are blocking me seems to put the lie on the idea that somehow these dipshits that keep saying that we are the sensitive ones. I thought I was the sensitive one, right? Aren't I supposed to be the easily owned lib in this situation? Aren't you owning this lib by having me? Is it too much to ask? How am I ever going to be owned as a lib if I can't hear all the stupid things you're saying? Well, I know what you're thinking. Hal, you'll just have to go watch parts of their show. This is, I don't know what the fuck this graphic is. To me, this basically sums up the anti-abortion message on the right now about their perception. Yeah, why do you never feel owned? I know. I even want to be pwned once in a while, and it never happens. I mean, don't get me wrong. It's not like a kink that I have or something. I can live without it. But in this particular case, Dan Bongholio, we'll get into this. The title of this is Dan Bongholio. They treat us like little children all the time. They treat us like suffer the little children unto him. And it's true. So we do treat them like little children, especially when they're driving around DC, clogging up traffic to protest vaccine because they don't want to get their shot. I can actually share something with them in this regard, because when I was a kid, we had to get vaccinated at school. At my elementary school, they had somebody come and vaccinate all of us, and we all had to get a shot. And I didn't want to get a needle in my arm. And catching me was like a squirrel was loose in the house. They eventually got me, but it was ugly. And it involves me, going over and under desks. I mean, it was like a miniature second grade version of me doing parkour. So I get it. I get it. You don't want your shot? That's something I got over as a grown up. As a matter of fact, I now enjoy the benefits of acupuncture. That's true. Doesn't bug me at all. As a matter of fact, my acupuncturist always kids me because I use the big thick needles. At some point, she's going to have to use bass guitar strings on me. So it doesn't bother me at all. But back then, boy, did it when I was a child. And apparently, I guess Bongholio is still chafing. Let's find out. By the way, welcome, settle in. Don't forget, you can support the show by subscribing on whatever, I don't discriminate, wherever you are. There's a follow button or a like or subscribe or thumbs button or a hey, good job or something wherever you're watching. And if you're watching through a VPN from Russia, you can still use the Venmo. You just have to set up an account in the Caymans. I don't know how it works. But yeah, give it a try. All right, here we go. This is Dan Bongholio. They treat us like little children all the time.
No, I mean infants.
Hold on 1 second.
I'm tired of the government treating us like infants, folks. No, I mean infants, like actual infants.
Okay, like actual infants. So I don't know where he lives, and I don't know what kind of taxes he pays, but if he has someone coming by and wiping his ass 3 times a day, I feel cheated. Is somebody, honest to God,
infants that rely on mommy and daddy for everything.
No, I have no tattoos. That is true, Regina.
You got to change their diapers. You got to feed them and all that stuff. Infants don't do anything by themselves because they can't. You leave an infant, it's not going to survive.
Oh, thanks. Excellent parenting tips. In case anybody was wondering, asked and answered.
The government thinks we're infants, though.
No, they really don't.
Oh, and we're not. I'm 47. I was an infant a long time ago.
Depends on your definition of long time. Lunch, maybe? And I'm older than this guy? I'm 6 years older than him. Oh, you can't hear Bongholio? Is he too quiet? Hold on. I will turn it up a little bit.
Why am I bringing this up today? So I was thinking of the monologue this week, and I got to thinking, yes.
I was thinking of the monologue this week. It's nice when you have a TV show only on 1 day a week.
Government treats us like little children all the time.
Yeah, they don't, though.
And it's not just an act, folks, of misfeasance. It's an act of malfeasance.
I see. Misfeasance? By the way, I little known fact, I dated misfeasance 2008, and it was a mistake on my part.
In other words, it's not just that government's not helping, it's that it's actively screwing up your life.
So that's how you treat. So this man is presumably a father, and his idea of how you treat an infant is screw up their life. By what? Helping them not die, I guess? Is that where this is going? Good Lord.
Here's the difference, right? Misfeasance is someone falls in front of you on the sidewalk and you don't help them up. That's bad, right? You know what malfeasance is?
You trip them.
They go to get up and you punch them in the face. See, that's government.
No, it isn't. Unless you're talking about, of course, the governor of Mississippi, because that guy just declared an emergency in Mississippi and sent him a bunch of funds and a bunch of support. But the governor is riding the brake.
Folks, when the government makes a decision for you, whether about your health care, your education, your taxes, your money, where you can travel, what kind of car you can buy, you don't.
It literally makes none of those decisions for you. Seriously, let's run through these things again. Just seriously. I mean, this is.
Look, and you don't help them up. That's bad, right? You know what malfeasance is? They go to get up and you punch them in the face. See, that's government. Folks, when the government makes a decision for you, whether about your health care.
Okay, the government doesn't make a decision for you about your health care. You could, for example, go without being vaccinated. You just couldn't do it as a representative of the federal government because the government's not in the business of intentionally spreading a contagion. You didn't have to get the shot if you want to fucking stay home. But if you're going to interact with everybody else, especially if you have a federal job, you can't do it. And restaurants, if they became responsible at all, most of them, the decision to like not allow unvaxxed people in or mask mandates inside businesses were zoning. They were mayors and stuff. They weren't. It wasn't a federal mandate.
Your education,
your education makes no decision on your fucking education. If you don't like the elementary school in theory, you can move. There is no point where the government is saying you have been assigned to this particular elementary school for your fucking life. You can't go anywhere else. It's, again, this is all zoning and where you live nearby. It's why you have blanket standards on education in an area.
Taxes, your money.
Your taxes and your money. Okay, so it doesn't decide what taxes you ultimately pay. It decides the percentage. You also have a say in that through your representatives.
Where you can travel, what kind of...
Where you can travel. Again, only if you are actually under house arrest or you're on parole. Otherwise, fuck off. What do you mean where you can travel?
A car you can buy.
What kind of car you buy? Again, still no. If you want to buy a 57 fucking Chevy, you can buy it. If you want a new car that's built the same as a 57 Chevy, I don't know, you're insane. But also, then make it yourself. The government will not stop you from bootstrapping your own 57 Chevy from scratch. But there is no reason why we have to arrest our technological advancement because you like a car that goes vroom, vroom.
You don't make that decision yourself.
Yes, you do. On all of those, you are 90% of the decision straight out of the gate. The rest is a matter of convenience or geography, just where you live.
That's not misfeasance, it's malfeasance.
That's just stupid. No, it isn't malfeasance. The government is not forcing. Nobody is coming to somebody in fucking Ohio and going, I'm sorry, but according to the mandate of the People's Party, you must send your children to elementary school in Oklahoma at a state facility. Get the fuck out of here. This asshole's acting like we're all Uyghurs in China.
Because they stole from you.
They stole from you. You mean because we all pay taxes? Because all of our services and the things we all take for granted are paid for with those taxes?
They stole from you the opportunity.
How? How does the government steal your opportunity? Unless, I guess, it's the opportunity to be hit by a train. God damn it. Why do they keep putting down those gates on either sides of the fucking tracks? They are stealing my opportunity to have a near miss and watch my car get nailed by a commuter train.
The opportunity to make your own money, to make...
Yeah, dude, go for it. Draw your own fucking money. What do you mean to make your own money? Honestly, what the fuck is this guy talking about? What?
Stole from you the opportunity to make your own money, to make your own healthcare decisions, to choose. You
can make your own fucking healthcare decisions, I guess, except if you're a woman and you want the right to choose. You got me there. Got it under the wire. Also, I think physicians-assisted suicide, for the most part, is out. Also, ivermectin or fucking horse paste up the ass to cure something that it won't actually cure, so that you can go, I don't need to get a shot. I'll clog up the fucking hospital 2 times. I'll get COVID and take up a bed, and then if I manage to survive, I'll get fucking I'll come back for ivermectin poisoning.
Choose where your kids go to school. They stole from you. That's a thief.
These thieving bastards. And the only way you can defend it is get in a rowboat and row out into the middle of the ocean and find an island and start from scratch. What the fuck? You do realize this asshole is in an air-conditioned studio in New York. I think he's in New York, right?
They've stolen from you.
They stole it. They made you haven't made you live in a country with a functioning economy and traffic lights steal from you. I would not have been late if I could drive on the sidewalk. They stole the opportunity. What the fuck?
You know, just a quick story.
Okay, but they'd better explain this, because Jesus Christ, we're a minute and a half into this, and I honestly don't know what the fuck you're on about.
Someone very close to me called me this week. Doesn't matter who, but
Yeah, it kind of does. It kind of does matter who. I'm gonna guess it's Stu from Glenn Beck's show. We'll just fill it in that this was Stu calling you.
I promise you, unlike a Joe Biden story, this is real.
Okay, you know what? Then don't tell me who it was.
And they were crying, and it really bothered me, and it dug at me, and I
Why are people calling you crying?
desperately wanted to fix her problem.
Oh, it was a her. Sorry. Okay, I'm still going with Stu from Glenn Beck.
But I only would have been fixing the problem for me, not for her, because
Okay, I'm going to need more details. What?
if I did it, I would have stolen from her the opportunity to figure it out.
I see. So one of his children called crying because they had a problem, and he refused to help them and went, "It's life lesson time." Click. Gotcha.
That's what government is stealing from you.
What? Oh, I see. By fixing the water supply in your town, a task you are, as an individual, completely incapable of dealing with on your own, they're stealing the opportunity for you to harden your digestive tract against toxic water. I feel so denied of my death on the Oregon Trail from dysentery.
By treating every one of you like infant children. They want,
as opposed to adult children, like the staff and talent at Fox.
to make every decision from cradle to grave. I've talked about this before.
Yeah, but this is the first time I'm seeing it. I don't watch your shit all the time, and it doesn't even make sense now. So if this is your refined version of this argument, we're all in for a long night.
Remember the segment we did on our show about Barack Obama's Life of Julia, where every single component of Julia's life, there's some government intervention to make decisions for them? Here, take a look.
Okay, so it's an excuse. He didn't write his monologue again, so he just wants to rehash a talking point. Hey!
Remember President Obama's embarrassing PR campaign? Remember this one in 2012 called The Life of Julia? Told the story of this woman from the childhood on, completely dependent on government.
Hold on. I'll bring up the Life of Julia images. Let's see. Life of Julia. This is, let me see if I can find it. Okay. Image license is expired. Okay. Doink. Let's see if I can find the this is the so this is take a look at Obama's help one woman. Okay, so under President Obama, Julie is enrolled in a Head Start program to help her get ready for school. Because of steps President Obama has taken to improve programs like this, when Julia joins thousands of students across the country who will start kindergarten ready to learn and succeed. Under Mitt Romney, they don't want to do that. Okay, so Head Start, better than no Head Start. This is, and then the next one is, by the way, she didn't have to go to Head Start. This is a program they can take if they want. Parents can put you in Head Start. It is not forced enrollment, for the record. Oh, God. All right, next up. Julia takes the SAT and is on track to start a college application. Her high school is part of the Race to the Top program implemented by President Obama. Their new college and career-ready standards mean Julia can take the classes she needs to do well. So they basically, it help you guide you into higher education. There's a standard they set to help that, like, doesn't choose your fucking major for you, doesn't make you go to college. It doesn't go, but I want to go to a trade school and learn to be a welder. What is this, flash dance? Get in the fucking class and learn lesbian dance history. So stupid. Love you guys too. Okay, the next one. Okay, under President Obama, as she prepares for her first semester in college, Julie and her family qualify President Obama's American Opportunity Tax Credit, worth up to $10,000 for 4 years. Also, as one of millions of students who received a Pell Grant to help put college education within reach. Okay, so this is funds available to build a workforce of smarter, technologically savvy workers for the future. Like it's like this is a fucking. And do you have to take it? Cradle to grave. Why isn't Julia nailed to a cross during this and all these slides? This is when she's 18. Then she moves on to the next piece. Okay. Then under President Obama, during college, Julia undergoes surgery. Is thankful to be covered by her insurance due to a provision in healthcare reform that lets her stay on her. Okay. So she needs healthcare, and instead of going broke while she's in college, she benefits from the ACA. Okay. I mean, this is how it goes on. It's like at each stage in your life, there's something there to benefit you. And the panic on that, I mean, this makes total fucking sense.
Government programs to live her life as a devoted Democrat from start to finish. Of course, it was all propaganda.
No, it wasn't. People used that money to go to college. People didn't go broke because they were still on their parents' insurance. Head Start helps. What the fuck? How is it just? I mean, the pictures are cute.
Folks, infants, they need parents to survive. Free citizens of the United States do not need government to.
Then don't take it, fucko. Pay full fare for insurance or wear a fucking medal around your neck that says do not resuscitate. Unless I have enough cash on me for surgery, do not pull me out from under this burning car. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like this asshole lives in the Wild West. I'm out here on the frontier. I'm shooting moose for breakfast. Shut the fuck up.
Survive. There's a difference. Government creates centralized power.
No, it doesn't. We have a republic for a fucking reason. It's not centralized. We don't have the Chinese fucking government. We don't have the Russian fucking government. We have three main branches in the federal government alone, and a series of divisions where even the Department of Justice is separate in its decisions from the administrative state. We have governors and circuit courts amongst that. Even as frustrating as it is, the United States is rife with decentralized power.
It seeks control over people.
No, it doesn't. It's not control if it's enticing. It's like, again, if you want to talk this into, like, this is the government treating you like children, at most there's an element of, I'll give you this piece of candy if you brush your teeth. Actually, it's more like, if you brush your teeth, I'll pay for the toothpaste. God damn, dude.
And in exchange, some people who really don't need it claim to want it because they don't want to take responsibility over their whole lives.
Claim to want it? What do you mean claim to want it? Oh, God, this is... They claim to want help from the government even though they don't, just because they want to be spanked by the government. I don't know. This is getting a little pervy. It's getting a little pervy.
If people believe they can govern them,
you mean like MTG's PPP loans?
Themselves, and big government has a major problem. That's why they don't like that whole thing.
Wait, say that again.
Responsibility over their whole lives. If people believe they can govern themselves, and big government has a major problem. That's
no, it doesn't. I'll tell you what. The key to smaller government is self-policing of people. I mean, ultimately, if we could trust people to have a bunch of guns and none of them popped off at fucking school or any then honestly, we wouldn't need the ATF.
Why they don't like that whole thing. Free thought. That's why they love censorship.
They don't. First of all, they don't love censorship. No, I mean, we have not experienced censorship in this fucking country. We have not. The president, like the former president, losing his fucking Twitter account when he can tour around the fucking country talking into a microphone and he can record all of his thoughts and post it on a fucking website if he wants to. That's not censorship.
Big government and the politicians who run it treat citizens like infants. Think about it. Completely.
I'm trying to think about it, and every time you talk, I think you're the only infant in the designated area in this conversation. They don't. What the fuck are you talking about? Having organizational standards for services and tax collection and shit like that is not infantilizing adults. It's having a fucking system. That's like saying that the generals in a military infantilize the troops when they yell at them, or the red light infantilizes. I know when it's safe to go through a light. Jesus Christ.
Reliant on big daddy and big mommy government. We see it everywhere.
Do we? Yes, we see it everywhere. Stupid OSHA.
The Biden administration acts like we're little children.
You keep saying that. Give an example other than your own whingy, stupid take.
Who can't think or act for ourselves.
Well, they might have something on you there.
They need this.
No, they don't. Do you know how many things we could get done if we didn't have to do all the maintenance bullshit for toddler assholes who watch too much fucking, who like dive into QAnon Reddit threads?
The very definition of infantilism is, quote, an act or expression that indicates lack of maturity. Does that sound like how the Biden administration acts when it comes to solving real problems?
No. That's why they got a bipartisan gun reform bill and a bipartisan infrastructure package put through. That's why the rescue package and the CHIPS Act are all like adult shit. Does this motherfucker think the CHIPS Act was about potato chips? Ugh.
It's like they think we're too dumb and immature.
Then explain what the fuck you're talking about.
Sure, to figure out what's going on for us.
What's going on?
They treat us like infants. It's no different. Who are just supposed to accept, by the way, their blatant lies as truth as well. Well, like this, Jim.
Do you realize the bullet out of an AR-15 travels 5 times as rapidly as a bullet shot out of any other gun?
They talk to you like you're children.
Okay. This is so Biden he bungled that statistic or that standard when he spoke of it. It's 2 times as fast, and where they get it is from this, and the difference also in penetrative capability for an AR-15's bullet versus a handgun slug, which again. A handgun slug, especially if it's meant to be a person stopper, has most of the time, especially in like police guns and stuff, has a rounded front, not a piercing front. It's not made for armor piercing, and so the shape of the projectile matters. It also is meant to shred because you have limited rounds. So the idea is you have 6 bullets or 9 bullets or even 10 bullets. Each one, when it hits, should fucking go everywhere. Whereas a rifled bullet in an AR-15, the intention is to hit into a narrow field and to go straight through and out the other side. And so it's better with if someone's wearing armor or they're wearing Kevlar or that kind of stuff than a bullet, right? A regular handgun bullet. And so the idea is that it is the kinetic energy is twice as much. but it's 5 times more likely to go through stuff and hit you than a handgun bullet. That's just kind of basically part and parcel to what he's talking about. It does, like, it's just a dick move. It's like the AR-14 statement.
5 times as fast. We're not infants, folks. Fairy tales don't work.
Yeah, we know they don't go 5 times as fast. We just know they're 5 times more likely to penetrate stuff you might hide behind in some cases, and that they're twice as fast. And so they're great if you want to shred a kid.
Work on us, unless you're liberal. Remember the Affordable Care Act, Obamacare? It was supposed to be the answer to getting uninsured Americans covered and bringing down health care costs.
24 million people got insurance that didn't have it previously.
We're going to fix it for you. Now, after more than a decade of big government help and the COVID health emergency keeping millions on the Medicaid and Medicare rolls, wouldn't you know it, the problems have gotten worse. Like I told you before, misfeasance, not malfeasance.
No, look, first of all, the Republicans have been running interference against the ACA from the beginning. There is no public option within it, which would also help fund it. They also got rid of the mandate, therefore undermining funding for it. That's the malfeasance part. You can have insurance of your very own, or you can use the ACA. But if you don't, there's got to be some kind of fee in there because you're the folks ultimately that, and there's Medicare and Medicaid for people who are older or people who are poor. So nobody's getting shafted by this shit.
After Obamacare kicked millions off their private plans, what has 2 thumbs and got kicked off their plan? This guy too. And after a worldwide pandemic, there's millions more people dependent on big government health care.
First of all, why the fuck did you get kicked off your health care plan? Fox doesn't provide one. Your radio station doesn't provide one. You're not an AFTRA.
Worked out great for big.
New report shows record 35 million people enrolled in coverage related to the Affordable Care Act, with historic 21 million people enrolled in Medicaid expansion coverage. And yes, it was those 35 million people who can't afford it either through their business or some other, didn't have to bounce to fucking Cobra.
Government, didn't it? Not so great for you.
I don't, again, I'm not even sure what he thinks this actually says in the picture next to his head.
Even worse, healthcare costs are only going up. Wait, I thought the government was fixing that. It's because they think we're infants and they
expected to healthcare costs for retired Americans expected to surge next year. They're going, okay. Shall we look at Fox Business? Retired Here you go. This is healthcare costs for retired Americans are expected to surge next year. Dear God. Megan Haney, May 16th this year. Medicare Part D premiums are soaring, pushing healthcare costs higher. A new estimate from Fidelity Investment released on Monday shows that the average 65-year-old couple retiring this year can expect to spend an average of $315,000 in healthcare and other related medical expenses during their retirement, i.e. throughout the rest of their fucking lives. God willing, 25 years or longer. That's a sharp, including the end of their life care, which is when most of the costs go up. That's a sharp increase from last year when Fidelity projected that most retired couples would spend up to an average of $300,000 a year. Yes, it's up $15,000 over 25 to 30 years, judging on the improvements in medical services that will actually keep you alive longer. Fucko, if you missed COVID and you survived, you're going to live a lot longer than people who died before COVID of old age. Yeah, it's not $315,000 a year. It's literally, it says during their retirement. Okay, so obviously, this is like Bongino saying, why don't people go back to work? If you're going to spend that much in your retirement, you better go back to work or you're going to die. Shut the fuck up.
They force us to be completely reliant on big government. They control.
Again, why the fuck is How is this? What the fuck does this have to do with big government at all? This is the actual costs of medical services you are going to get or need over the course of your life, arguably in this country, from private sources, from hospitals, from much of the increase this year stems from steeper Medicare Part B premiums for Americans 65 and older. Medicare imposed a 14.5% increase on premiums Part B outpatient coverage in 2022, a record high and nearly double that of the national inflation rate of 8.3. On a monthly basis, retirees and older Americans are paying $170 for Medicare Part B premiums, beg your pardon, an amount that is typically deducted directly from Social Security checks. But Americans don't necessarily expect to spend so much on healthcare and retirement and often fail to allocate enough money. Fidelity found couples retiring this year and anticipating spending just $41,000 a year, $41,000 on medical expenses, well below the $315,000 average when surveyed. What? During their retirement. Nobody expects the average person. If somebody gets fucking certain kinds of cancer, their costs are $2, $6, $3 million, whatever the fuck. If they have a brain tumor, if they have a recurring spinal issue, whatever, that jacks the number up. This is about their expectations. When survey participants were informed of the much higher figure, they were alarmed and did not feel prepared to cover those costs during retirement, you think. Even more concerning is that 2/3 of the survey respondents actually believe they would need less than $25,000 to pay for healthcare related expenses during their retirement. Part of it is because they thought you were talking about what their out-of-pocket costs to go with Medicare Part B and all that stuff is, not the actual stuff they'd have to pay for if they become sick. Senior Citizens League, a nonpartisan group that focuses on issues related to older Americans, estimate as recently as Social Security recipients have lost 40% of their buying power since 2000 as a result of inflation. That's the deepest loss in buying power since the beginning of the study in 2010. This is just about how people fucking feel. They're jealous that the middle and working poor are going to get some relief. Ear the rich. I think you mean eat the rich. There's not enough of them to go around.
Healthcare, they control everything. Then there's a student loan debacle I covered last week, folks. It got me thinking about this monologue.
Oh, yeah? Because forgiving $10,000, which is what he ran on and how he got elected, partly, living up to that promise, which has been around for years, that's infantilizing people.
Higher education's only gotten more expensive since the Department of Education got involved and started giving out Pell Grants in 1972. Well, some help, right? Now, 50 years later, it could cost taxpayers up to $1 trillion to pay off the forgiveness of these student loans.
No, just money that doesn't go out.
Again, folks, they think we're infants. We believe in fairy tale money and monopoly money. I mean, who needs big government to make decisions for us? You don't.
Thanks, man. Thanks. Thanks. I feel way to believe in me. It's great. You're right. I don't know what I was thinking. I don't need government to tell me what side of the yellow line to drive on in the freeway. You're right.
Don't forget about education either. During the pandemic, parents pulled their kids from public schools in droves. They started voting for school choice and a voucher system so parents could take back control, things infants don't have. Well, how did the big government goons over at DOJ respond? They labeled parents who protested this stuff as, domestic terrorists.
No, they didn't. Nobody who protested was labeled a domestic terrorist. If you phoned in a bomb threat or threatened the life of a vice principal that you don't like at your school, then that's domestic terrorism. It's politically motivated violence and the threats of politically motivated violence.
Stuff. You know how that works. Again, they want us to be infants.
Again, you repeat this talking point like you're actually making a fucking point. He's looking at the clock at this point. Bongholio does not prep for his show the way he's supposed to. He thinks about something for a second, they discuss it before the show, and then he freewheels it. He doesn't care.
Power to make our own decisions. You may say, Dan, you're overreacting.
No, I don't think you're overreacting. I think you're dumb. I think you're misunderstanding, or maybe you're malunderstanding.
America, we're free to do what we want. You'd be wrong about that too. You're really not. How about the big government stooge over in California, Gavin Newsom, hair product guy? He thinks he should
He is handsome. It's annoying.
choose what kind of car you buy. And more than a dozen other states actually agree with him. Yeah, this is from The Hill, not a right-leaning outfit, by the way. Several states.
Several states will follow California's lead in banning Several states will follow California's lead in banning gas-powered car sales by 2035. California's decision to ban new gas-powered car sales by 2025 sheds light on similar initiatives introduced in other states. I thought this was all Captain Hair Products' idea. Traffic-related greenhouse gas emissions account for a large portion of the total U.S. emissions. In an effort to cut down on pollutant and move away from reliance on fossil fuels, states and car companies alike are throwing their weight behind an electric vehicle revolution. Some states even plan to offer rebates for residents who purchase new electric cars. In the wake of California announcing last week that it will ban sales of all gas-powered cars by 2035, several states have announced similar plans. The Clean Air Act of grants California the ability to impose emission standards on new vehicles that are stricter than those at the national level. States' rights. And which other states can then follow. As long as state standards are identical to California's, they are permitted to adopt them without government approval. This week, the state of Virginia revealed it is bound by a 2021 state law to also phase out gas-powered cars by 2035. However, Attorney General Jason Miyares' office said in a statement it hopes the state repeals the law so Virginians are not bound by California's policies. A total of 15 states have backed California's zero emissions vehicle requirements, while Washington, Oregon, Massachusetts, and New York have taken steps to follow suit. Similar to Virginia, both Massachusetts and Washington have so-called trigger laws in place. Where have we heard that before? In Washington, the 2020 law is tied to California's emissions regulation, meaning whenever the Golden State tightens energy regulations, Washington will as well. Washington State, of course, not D.C. A bill in Massachusetts said it will follow suit if California bans gas-powered vehicles, meaning its Department of Environmental Protection is now required to write regulations for the 2035 deadline. This bill also increases rebates for residents who purchase new electric vehicles. In Oregon, the state's Department of Environmental Quality announced it is looking to adopt the ban, which would mandate all new light-duty vehicles sales must be transitioned to zero emissions by 2035. Okay, zero emissions is not quite the same as full electric. There's a lot of, there's wiggle room in that, but basically, last year, a New York bill was signed into law by Kathy Hochul, who aims to have all passenger cars and trucks sold in the state be zero emissions by 2035. For medium-duty and heavy-duty vehicles, the deadline is 2045. You can always buy a used one, though. You know what? Some states are banning 3G phone towers, too.
Follow California's lead in banning gas-powered car sales by 2035. Want to buy a gas-powered truck? Sorry, out of luck there, too. You want to buy an electric-powered truck? Here's the Daily Wire. Biden's inflation bill made $7,500 electric vehicle tax credits. Ford and GM just raised their prices by the same amount.
Those bastard corporations. He's so sick of them. This is big government ruining everything by trying to help. It's misfeasance, It's malfeasance.
Awfully convenient, right? So how's the big government making decisions things working out for you? Well,
as a California citizen and a Nevada resident, depending on where you are, and being somebody who travels a lot, I'm a big fan of, let's just call it the FAA. Huge government. As a matter of fact, the world's airplane system is based on the FAA standard. The FAA controls all flights, all airplanes in the sky. at and tracks every single one. It's a huge government endeavor, without which it's 9/11 every fucking day.
Really not great, America. Not only does this administration act like we're children, they talk to us like we were kids too. They lie right to our face. Take a listen.
Somebody walks into Texas or Arizona unvaccinated, they're allowed to stay. Why?
But that's not how it works. It's not like somebody walks over and that's not, it is not that simple.
Yeah, okay, they're cutting it down. She's basically saying they don't get to walk in and just fucking stay. And it's not like they're not getting tested for stuff or being, when they are caught, isolated from people. It's not like we're not vaccinating CPB.
It's not just that people are walking across the border.
Here's video. That is how it works. You can see with your own eyes. Do they think we're kids?
They're not walking across the border. They're being let in through a gate at Eagle Pass, and they will be processed. In that, these guys, unless you're saying that these CPB agents, and I guess a couple of these guys are Abbott's, Operation Lone Star National Guard troops, those guys are just letting immigrants run wild throughout the country. And if so, call them out. Call them, go up and scream at them, right? This is, these folks will be processed. They will be tested. It's not like somebody comes in and they go, hey, excuse me, do you have COVID? No. Do you have COVID? Yes, I do. Come on in. Just walk right in. You're automatic citizenship. Anybody with COVID gets to walk right in.
People walking across the border. They think we believe in fairy tales, like infants.
Again, you're a moron. That's not at all what's happening here. These people are being let in through a gate and they are being processed in groups. They don't automatically get to stay. These people are not tested for COVID and then released into the fucking country.
Border policy, their open border policy, like everything else.
It's not an open border policy. If there was an open border policy, what are those fucking guys doing there? Why did they have a gate at all? And why are you having to loop the fucking footage to make it look like it's nonstop?
Government touches only makes the crisis worse. I speak for, I think, myself and tens of millions of other conservative adults out there when I say this to big government. And listen up. Please stop helping. We don't need you. We can fix these problems ourselves.
Okay, great. Well, head on down to Mississippi where the water system is fucked up and grab a shovel, prick. The fuck are you talking about? When's the last time you saw this dickhead or any of the other conservatives at Fox News clearing rubble? For real. Ugh. What do you talk like? Where's there been like Fox News today is covering a group of citizens who've decided they're going to make their own rural broadband. Fuck you, government. We're going to lay the lines ourselves. With what? A grant? Get out of here.
Hey, Sean Hannity.
Okay, that's it. They treat us like children all the time. I think we've seen justification. You're watching HAL Sparks Mega Worldwide. That was Dan Bongholio, who has blocked me on Twitter. I don't know why. Just trying to help. I know what you're thinking. Stop helping. I can't. It's in my nature. It's just how I am. And having the dumbest take on the internet is his. Now, I may have spoken too soon because Greg Gutfeld, who used to have a show called Red Eye, late at night, which was supposed to be this kind of like after midnight news comedy-esque roundtable. Think Comics Unleashed, only angrier and more on a leash. And also, the title, by the way, I take this one obviously very personally. I don't want to get too much into it. I have to deal with this obviously because I feel it's a call out. Comedians have turned into political hacks. Yeah, you read that right. This dude, I guess he's saying comedians because he isn't one. I suppose these are his jokes, by the way. But we're political hacks. I would like to point out, if I may, that the Gutfeld behind him, that little sign, is somebody made him and made it to look like Garfield. They thought it was cute. But other people are the political hacks. So, all right, maybe he's just taking it personal. Maybe they're political hacks, and he's just got hack jokes, and that's maybe he's trying to bond with them. Let's find out.
How did SNL end up a humorless hell?
I never knew you wrote for them, but I mean, that would be my first guess.
Saturday Night Live alum explains how the show got so dumb. Comedian Rob Schneider appeared this week on Glenn Beck's podcast.
Oh, okay. Well, that would explain it. One of the ways, by the way, Rob's Looney Tunes, for the record. I've met him a couple of times. He's a bit spun and uncomfortable to be around, and was a part of one of what a lot of people consider the dead spots of SNL, casts. So anytime it gets news or it gets notoriety, he chafes at it. But I'm sure he'll play a clip and he'll explain to us all, obviously solemnly, while wearing a golf hat.
Never heard of him, Glenn? No. And reflected on the failing state of his former employer, Saturday Night Live. I bet he hates to crap on his old show.
I hate to crap on my old show. When I saw when Hillary Clinton lost, which is understandable.
Yes.
Not exactly the most likable person in the room.
Right.
Yes, Rob is definitely in a safe space.
And then when Kate McKinnon went out there on Saturday Night Live from the cold opening, and I was like,
A truly talented, funny woman.
she started dressed as Hillary Clinton, and she starts playing Hallelujah, and I said, I literally prayed, said, please have a joke at the end. Don't do this. Please don't go down there. And there was no joke at the end, and I went, it's over.
No. The entire Trump presidency was the punchline. It was one of the biggest jokes in SNL history. That was the setup. She comes out, hallelujah, and then this turd of a presidency takes off for 4 years. That was the punchline.
It's over.
And I love somebody at the back who's saying, is that Glenn or is that somebody else in the background?
Down there.
It's
There was
Stu.
no joke at the end, and I went, it's over. It's over. He's not going to come back.
This is like every SNL skit. Please, is there a joke at the end? And there never is.
Yeah. Yeah, Greg Gutfeld said that out loud.
But he's not wrong. The comedians turned into political hacks, and the actors turned into jokes. Now they're about as edgy as Brian Stelter's love handles. That's twice now. And it's still happening in the world of
But please tell me about hack jokes.
late night.
You can take the comedic indoctrination process happening with each of the late night hosts, and you could exchange them with each other. That's how you know that's not interesting anymore.
It's true.
It's totally true. It's so true. It is true that they're all saying the exact same thing, except they aren't.
late night host started playing the same.
First of all, The Daily Show's not a late night host. Seth and Colbert probably have the most overlap. Fallon is doing rudimentary jokes that I would argue are equal to like Carson during Reagan.
Same character, self-righteous snob who hated anyone who wasn't a fellow elite. They're as interchangeable as the Mrs. Potato Head pieces on James Vanderbeek's giant head.
What?
Mrs.? Why did we make the choice with Mrs. and not Mr.? Anyway.
That was a potato head joke. Well, to quote Rob Schneider, please let there be a joke at the end.
Well, except for one late night host. Who could that be?
Well, it fills time. I mean, you could have just had a wink and that would have done the joke, and it actually might have been even funnier. Just take an uglier picture. I'm sure you can find one, and just do a dramatic squirrel turn, and you could have shot it before the show, or just turn to the other camera and have them cut to it with a music cue. But you know what? You're right. This fills time better.
That's beautiful. You know, Jim, you've been in stand-up for, what, 60 years?
Half of that.
Half
30.
of that?
Yeah.
Yes, yes. And you're working your way at the clubs, which is good. What do you?
By the way, that's him shitting on Jim Florentine for not filling bigger venues, you know, because it's neighborly.
What's the word I'm looking for?
I don't know. Professional, clear-headed, articulate, smart, funny. Nah, none of those.
Do you hang out with woke comedians at all? Do you end up having to share time with them?
Sometimes, yeah.
What is that like?
We just talk about other stuff. Try to talk about football, some kind of sports. We don't get involved with the politics.
But they put politics in everything.
They do, but then when they're hanging out, they pretend like they don't care. They're independent. So I don't really care about politics.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, they do, and they try to go up on stage with their woke jokes, and it doesn't work. And then they get mad. Oh, it's all Trump supporters in the audience. I'm like, no, your joke just stinks. It stinks. That's why.
No, by the way, it seems like, in an inversion of events, it seems like he's speaking from experience.
And speaking
And
of,
I also don't know why that's as big a laugh from Gutfeld, except that he needs people to kind of think this is fun.
stink at Saturday Night Live, okay? They've been on the air for 47 years. It's an hour-and-a-half show. That's how long it's been. They got maybe like 10 iconic sketches in 47 years. If you look
10 iconic sketches in 47 years. Get fucked. You out of your mind?
at the Chappelle Show, he did 2 seasons. He's got more iconic sketches than Saturday Night Live.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, I
Name them.
mean, so it's
Name them compared to SNL ones.
overrated. Saturday Night Live is almost like U2. They got like 10 iconic songs.
Oh, boy.
And everything they put out after that stinks. They haven't put a good album out since 1997. Everything else, they got 10, and that's it.
Oh, boy.
Look at that.
Yes, it's, you know, those bands that have 10 iconic hits and 30 just top 10s, whatever. Like this, I mean, this makes sense for this crowd. This is a sour grapes discussion.
It's funny, I love U2, but I can't argue with that.
That's what they are. That's what Saturday Night Live is.
I mean, the first 3 U2 albums are amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, the most left-leaning ones, you mean? Are you out of your mind? Did you listen to the lyrics, or did you just like the way he moved?
And then they had Zooropa comes back, and then after that, everything kind of went.
How to dismantle an atomic bomb.
Yes, they got. And then remember they gave us that,
they
the
gave you
free album.
one
Do you remember
and
the free
iTunes.
album nobody wanted?
Nobody wanted.
Speaking of,
Automatically down.
Because it wasn't overtly political, for the record.
you should give this away with a real book.
There's many right there.
What do you make? Do you agree with Rob Schneider? The problem is a lot of people nobody watches. Like a lot of people criticize SNL but don't watch it.
I actually watch it.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I faithfully watch it.
Yeah.
I think it's funny until they talk politics.
Yeah.
I also think it's funny until they invite.
The fuck are you talking about? This show has been dealing with politics as part of it for its entire existence. Chevy Chase literally got his job on the goddamn show, falling down the stairs making fun of Gerald Ford. They have done every president, along the way. Like, The problem is that this is a snowflake reaction. This is exactly the problem that they have. They are humorless about SNL because it does not sufficiently make fun of their opponents. And if it ever touches on Trump or any of their issues, they're disgusted. It's not even just I don't like it when they are. That was a low blow or something like that. It's because they are painfully upset. That's why they cannot allow themselves to laugh at the funny parts of it.
Invite a guest host on that's not even a comedian.
Right.
I mean,
Yeah, like fucking always. What are you talking about? They have a guest host on that's not even a comedian. When's the last time you watched it? 1973? 76?
I have nothing bad to say about Kim Kardashian, but when she was on, people were like, what is she promoting? Her sex tape came out years ago.
Yes.
And
Her empire dummy.
she's not a comedian, so they don't.
Right? You do realize what year it is, right? Trump fucking hosted it. What are you talking about?
I think it's out on DVD now.
Yes. Of course. It's in your Rolodex.
Yes. My Rolodex next to my rotary phone.
No, but it's just, I mean, when they bring in politics, and I absolutely agree with.
When they bring in politics. Get the fuck out of here. When they bring in.
Schneider, that hallelujah, I was waiting for a joke. I'm like, this is depressing.
That was the whole thing. It was
so sad.
The Onion does this now. They'll do like a serious headline because it's like, life is so bad, guy. Can late night be saved?
I think you're saving it.
There, that's all you have to say. I forgive you for coming dressed as a restaurant valet.
He's wearing a crushed, red velvet jacket and a pressed white shirt. I'm going to go with Russian mobster.
I thought it was,
he's dressed almost exactly like Gutfeld, shirt-wise.
it was like an infomercial on how we could all make money.
That's better.
Yeah,
That's better. That's much better.
An infomercial on how we can all make money. This is, here's the thing. This would not be so awful if the whole purpose of it wasn't shitting on other people's comedy. Right? Oi.
Sell the reverse mortgage.
Or vasectomy.
Yes, that is a reverse mortgage.
And that is?
Yes, it is.
There you go.
you can keep your mortgage if you reverse. Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Last word, Tyrus.
Please, someone, last word this.
It comes down to just one thing. When you pick a side, you lose.
Yeah, that's what it is. That's the problem. When you pick a side, you lose. Thank you, Ty Ripped. What is it? What's this? Who's the dude? Tyrese? I don't know. Anyways, when you pick a side, you lose. Motherfucker, you are literally sitting with people who have picked a side. You've all picked a side. The whole show is about being antithetical to SNL now because you have picked a side. So, for the record, can't argue with anything he's saying right now.
And the comedy is supposed to be objective and art. The same thing with us. If we went super red all the time, sorry, it would end up in the same boat. But
yeah,
you are.
I don't think anyone's made fun of the president, Trump, during his time when it was warranted than we did.
Yeah.
You know, so we don't pick sides. And once you pick
you don't pick sides. It's true. They do, that's the thing. That's why they're on Fox.
a side, the art
The We Don't Pick Sides network.
form's gone.
Yeah. But also, even if you pick a side, at least have a sense of humor about your side.
Yeah, I mean, like, at least write a joke down on a clipboard and carry it with you and make sure that people cue you up so that you could say the thing you were going to say before, which was so funny when you thought of it. But it just, you know what? It was really, I wish it had happened organically like it did in the makeup chair. And, you know, what are you going to do? Okay.
And you pick a side that's not even on social media anymore.
Yeah.
And the other side's doing that we couldn't even make up.
Yeah.
I mean, someone shakes hands with their invisible friend in front.
Again, that never happened. That never happened. What they're referencing is that Biden allegedly shook hands with somebody. He was doing this to somebody who was off camera. Like, hey, how you doing? He wasn't shaking a phantom hand. You're an asshole. You made it up. If you think it's true, or you put somebody else, you meme something in there, he was shaking hands with somebody because you used the hand gesture for something else, it's one thing, because you're making comedy out of an image. But if you're asserting that the joke comes from something that never fucking happened, that is the very definition of picking a side politically.
For the TV, there's some jokes there. You're like,
Haven't found them yet, but, hope springs eternal, right, Jim?
Yeah.
The only time they tried to make fun of him, remember Jim Carrey played Biden, and he had the sunglasses on like he was some cool guy. There's nothing cool about Joe Biden.
They do that.
Well, he can drive a car, so he can't sit in a truck and go. But
their idea, when they say they're making fun of somebody, like Hillary, it's so soft and it's always laughing with the character. They go, but we do lampoon. No, you don't. Well, who am I talking to? All right. Coming up, it took some
no one
bravado to lock thermostats in Colorado.
Hey, Sean Hannity.
Alliteration. Always. This is supposed to be a lead into something in the next segment. Look at the title on this one. Rob Schneider on SNL. It's over. Is that what they said to Rob on his way out the door? Dude, we've all been fired. It happens.
Character. They go, but we do lampoon. No, you don't. Well, who am I talking to? All right. Coming up, it took some bravado to lock thermostats in Colorado.
Hey,
again, I'm sure that's a lead in, but I think the fact that he thinks it's funny because it rhymes, that's fucking cringy as shit. God damn. I keep thinking, because Fox has, it's a ratings point in the, that they can kind of corral their viewers for the day into. And a lot of the Fox viewers don't go anywhere else. So it's easy to build a throughput crowd just for that show. You're just herding them into a tighter and tighter fold until they fall asleep. So Gutfeld is the show that's on. They fell asleep during Hannity and they just left it on. So they're getting credit from the Nielsen box of Gutfeld being on, but they're not watching it. And a lot of people, quite frankly, watch Colbert and Seth Meyers, especially on YouTube or on other they watch the clips of the interviews they want. They watch the opening monologue. They watch separate bits. They watch musical guests as individual pieces rather than a flowing show, except for the main audiences. But they have a much bigger audience for that. Gutfeld's show has none of that. It wasn't Rob Schneider, Goat Boy. No, that was Jim Brewer. Schneider was making copies. The Markmeister, like that character. Yeah. So, and by the way, Brewer and Schneider and a couple of those other folks in that particular era are all like uber Trumpies, borderline QAnon at this point. Brewer's just fucking gone off the deep end in that regard. Biden's going to the Detroit Auto Show. Trump will be jealous. Well, I don't know. I think cars make Trump nervous unless it's a limo and someone lets him in the back. So there's so much to do. While we're on just a tide of douchebags, it makes me sad to watch some people fall so far, because I grew up with late 70s, early 80s, mid 80s hair metal and rock, classic rock especially, and there was room in Ted for some of that stuff. You could tell by the time he was in Damn Yankees. There's literally a song on the Damn Yankees record called "Don't Tread on Me." He was already entering kind of, America with the A taken off with a comma, spelled with a U, even then. And he has, a show, the Ted Nugent Spirit Campfire. I suppose that's sort of like Native American cultural appropriation, and that the arrows somehow make it okay. But so this just, you know, where's the kids? I don't know. They're staked up against something. I mean, that's a lot of fucking arrows. I mean, maybe if you just practice more, you wouldn't lose so many. But anyways, this is, I don't know if this is an ad for show. It's really short. It's only 2 minutes and 17 seconds. But it's Ted Nugent. The Democrat Party stands for treachery. Treachery. Okay. Hold on.
My name is Ted Nugent.
Hi, Ted.
I'm addicted to truth, logic, and common sense.
All right. Well, so you're on the wagon then. So you're in. Is this your version of like Truths Anonymous then? These are your addictions, and for the sake of your family, there was an intervention, and everybody said you're too much into the truth and common sense thing. We need to get you away from that. And ever since then, I've been a teetotaler against truth and common sense.
Which means I completely reject everything Joe Biden, his gangster family, and the Democrat Party. We played a video.
Well, then you're not addicted to those things, because even a broken clock is right twice a day. There are some things in there, like, so you reject everything he says. Like, we need to make made in the USA mean something again. You're against the CHIPS Act. You're against the infrastructure bill. You're against, any number. I mean, I'm sure I feel like he would be against support for the Ukraine war, but we don't know.
Video at the beginning of the show.
I didn't see that, though. You're posting 2-minute clips. You can't tell me about something that didn't happen and your asshole editor cuts a piece out of it.
Showing the imagery of what the Democrat Party believes in and what they stand for, and it's all treachery.
It's treachery. The treacherous nature of removing lead pipes from the drinking water. The treachery of rural broadband. The treachery.
It's all
treachery.
Engineered recidivism.
Engineered recidivism. To your addiction or crimes you committed while you were addicted to? I'm confused.
The cultivation of violent crime.
The cultivation of it. I see. So they cultivate violent crime by what? Oh, because Biden's people stormed the Capitol on the 6th. I remember that.
The guarantee that good people become victims and the most evil people in the world are somehow rewarded.
Well, I don't think Trump's been rewarded. I think he just hasn't had his comeuppance yet. I mean, it's point taken.
With the Democrat Party bailing them out after they burned down cities and attacked people and killed retired cops.
Those people didn't get bailed out. The guy who shot Dorn didn't get bailed out by a Democrat.
I mean,
it's almost like I have to cherry pick what people are saying and then blanketly create a straw man and then shoot flaming arrows at it and say, who set my house on fire?
I can't make this stuff up. This is the Ted Nugent, real America's Voice Spirit Campfire. Well, how cocky can I be?
Well, you are Ted Nugent. I mean, it was a defining characteristic for a long time. I mean, it's harder now, obviously. I'm immediately just going to say, I think you need to get some sleep.
To think that the old guitar player represents the real voice of America. Well, because I hang out with real America. And all the people I hang
yeah, so do I. In America, the breadth of the citizenry is what's cool. Isolating yourself into a bubble and then calling it the real thing is a dick move.
Hang out with are so positive, so hardworking, just reek of goodwill and decency and positive spirit, positive energy, positive attitude.
And they still let you hang out. That's nice. They sound like lovely people.
Work ethic, just a wonderful work ethic. I don't know anybody that sleeps in. I don't know anybody that.
Wait a minute. You play in a rock band, you don't know anybody that sleeps in? I know a bunch of people who sleep in. They work nights. fuck's sake.
Waits for a handout or expects you to cover their loan debt.
Nor do I. That's not what happened.
You really, the division of America is not only obvious, but it's necessary.
Oh, good. All right. So fuck this United States business. That's the problem with America, is this whole United States thing. And by the way, call up MTG. She personally got more loan forgiveness from the federal government than any individual student in the fucking country. She got, I want to say, like as much as 13 students.
The Nugent family believes that if you don't have secure borders, you're not a nation.
Right. That's why there's the Democrats have an immigration reform bill, and the Republicans don't want it passed because they don't want the nation to exist. They want to kind of chop it up like you're talking.
The Democrat Party is doing everything they can while looking right in the camera with this Jean-Pierre gal representing the Joe Biden crime family.
The crime family thing just tickles me. Biden is a doddering old fool that can't finish a sentence, that also is the Godfather.
And she was hired because of her gender confusion and her color.
Well, her gender confusion and her color. Sorry, Ted, who in the federal government assigns your gender to you or how you express it? Dude who used to have long hair and dress in spandex and tights for decades. Jesus Christ. Yeah, 2 minutes and he's managed to hit every shitty Republican character trait. Good Lord.
Well, that's racism. I mean, no matter what issue I bring up, what point I might want to point out, everything about the Democrats and anything represented by Joe Biden is just as toxic.
Yeah. It's so toxic. It's almost like it, I don't know, grabs you by the pussy.
And ugly.
Really, Ted? There was a time when the ladies thought you were a decent looking fella. And time will come for us all.
And negative and hateful.
Oh, it's terrible the way he says he doesn't hate all Republicans, just the ones that want to destroy democracy.
And treasonous as anything can possibly be.
Treasonous as anything can possibly be. I don't know. I'm gonna tell you that I think stealing national secrets and storing them at a rental property you have, that's way up higher on the list than whatever fucking you're talking about. Again, they say this is a regular talking point and never put any teeth in it. They never, ever stand by what they're saying. It's like saying the Biden crime family talking point all the time. And yet they're like influence peddling. It showed on the Hunter Biden laptop, of which there is none, that he did not. 10% for the big guy. That's but literally within a week, they were referring to Trump as the big guy. It's fucking stupid. All right. So that's the show. I guess that's a little teaser for the show, or they just cut clips and put this at the end. Is that what happens? Ugh. You're watching HAL Sparks Mega Worldwide. I go through these whole clips, the entirety of them, for better or worse, because you can't, it wouldn't be fair. Speaking of life and it's not being fair, ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the raggedy son of Donald Trump, the one who is consistently the most miserable, the most broken, and the most, I guess, lost at the golf course. I don't know where this is. We never know where. He's at one of his dad's properties all the time.
Guys,
hold on.
Guys, pretty cool.
Oh my God, it's so loud. Fuck me.
Watching the DJT rally this week.
The DJT rally this weekend. Because if I say father, it gets weird real quick.
Weekend, and I got the honorable mention.
Yes, that's how Trump describes you as a son. He's got his favorite, which is clearly Ivanka. Lately, Eric's been getting the actual professional duty of being the spokesperson against the... it didn't last long. It lasted about a week. But he was definitely the one they were sending out as the spokesperson. And then you got honorable mention. I think that's, yeah.
Talking about all the garbage we've been seeing out of Washington, all the lies, all the corruption. He's talking about, of course, the Russia hoax, right?
Right, totally. Which, the Mueller investigation did not say there was no collusion.
That went on for 5 years. Some of them are still pretending that it's true, and
it's still true. Yeah, I'm not pretending. It's still true. It's still true. You're pretending it doesn't bother you. You're pretending you don't think you dodged a bullet. Figuratively speaking, you know.
My father did the riff. It's nice to know that he cares. You know, he's a tough guy. He sort of treats me and anyone else around him sometimes like Hillary at the debates. You know what I mean? No one gets a free pass.
Your dad treats you like Hillary most of the time. He just say that again.
Corruption. He's talking about, of course, the Russia hoax, right? That went on for 5 years. Some of them are still pretending that it's true. And my father did the riff. It's nice to know that he cares. You know, he's a tough guy. He sort of treats me and anyone else around him sometimes like Hillary at the debates. You know what I mean? No one gets a free pass. No one gets the free ride.
Dude, you are literally at his properties. You literally live in your dad's buildings. Of course you get a free ride. Unless this is us finding out that Trump won't take Don anywhere. You can come, but you got to fly coach. I'm not. Who needs you?
And we're all better for it. So it was kind of...
Yeah, it's better. It's better when your dad treats you like he treated Hillary Clinton at the debate. So he just basically skulks around you like a creep. So he just kind of says shit like that when you're talking in the middle of while you're talking. He cuts you off and just kind of stands over your shoulder and lurks.
Cool, but he's 100% right talking about the corruption, talking about the insanity when the clowns...
The craziness that's going on and is happening right now.
The world, like Adam Schiff can get up on the stage and say, Donald Trump Jr. committed treason. You know, minor details, a crime punishable by death. Ho-hum, just another Tuesday. Luckily, we're Luckily, we're used to it at this point, and we...
How are you fighters? Even figuratively fighting, this is silly.
Can handle it, and it only makes us want to...
We can handle it. We can handle it. You know how I handle it? I let my dad handle it for me. And I make Rumble videos. That's how I do it. I'm a fighter. So the way we fight in this family is we let my dad co-opt what was said about me and paraphrase something that wasn't actually said, and then attack me, someone else on my behalf to benefit himself. You know, because we're fighters.
Fight harder for our country and for our freedoms.
Yeah, I can tell. There's a flag in the background.
And all of the things that matter to us so much.
Golf, Saudis,
as Americans.
Cocaine.
So go check out this clip. It's always nice to see Dad, talking about it. Shows he cares, because there's times...
Has he got dip in his fucking lip? Or did he just have dental surgery? I'm going with dip.
Sometimes, we're just in that fight. Sometimes...
Because he's like one of those guys who will dip just to feel connected to other people. Like he's pouching.
You miss it. So it's kind of awesome. Check it out. And by the way, take note of the size of the crowd. check out this crowd versus Joe Biden's demonic speech, also in Pennsylvania. So similar, and Joe's home state. Even though he left there at the age of 9 or whatever it was.
Yeah. Working class people having to move.
Young. He still plays that up, right? Just because he's blue-collar Joe, and he's doing such a wonderful job for blue-collar Americans. Or
Yeah, he actually is.
at least that's what the press would have you believe.
It's also what the facts would have you believe, which, don't worry. I know you'll choose to believe something else.
We all see otherwise, right? The economy,
No.
according to them, is also thriving somehow, magically. I don't know. I don't see it myself, but check it out.
No, you're not doing well as a faux billionaire.
Hopefully you guys enjoyed the speech, and I'll probably have a couple other cuts from it because it was a doozy.
Yeah, we're gonna do that. Like my son Don, we covered this. I'm not doing it twice. Jesus Christ. Hold on one second. I want to. Let's see. I think there was another one of his without a Papa. Papa, can you hear me? Clip. Did he not? Does he not post them everywhere? Because I seem to see some on Twitter that don't like. Maybe they're private on his. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe they're private on his Rumble page for a time or something. Or maybe it's just one we've covered before. Maybe that's it. Hold on one second. I'm taking. The only thing I can go by is what shirt he's wearing.
Didn't go to every party, didn't buy the coolest new toy chasing clout, but worked hard.
Oh, this is his one on. So these are like everyone's response. So this is, where is this? This is got to be this shirt. You won't believe AOC's latest wow. Is this the one?
Hola, si tienes un medidor de energía como este en el costado de tu casa, puedes hacer que corra hacia atrás y recibir.
Thank you very much.
Well, guys, you're not going to be surprised at all
how much I'm fucking coked out of my goddamn gourd. I am so racked up right now. Seriously, I was always questioning coffee enemas, but once you add meth.
About this, but everyone's favorite idiot in Congress, Alexander.
He had to look at the note. Everyone's favorite idiot in Congress. Who's everybody's favorite?
Andrea Ocasio-Cortez.
He had to look twice just watch him pronounce the name and look to the left. Watch him glance to the left. Who are we talking about today? The dumbest person in the world, Donald Trump Jr. So that's there.
I'm not be surprised at all about this, but everyone's favorite idiot in Congress, Alexandria Ocasio.
Like how can you not say AOC or Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez now without having to look at a note? Jeez, nice, Anthony.
Cortez, AOC.
We're talking about AOL.com. She's the dumbest. Like, who actually uses that CD they mail you?
Said over the weekend that
those people who have swollen septums from cocaine use apparently
who oppose student loan forgiveness are selfish.
Okay. Selfish. How cruel of her. What a terrible word. She said the word selfish like it's a bad thing? Hasn't she read Ayn Rand?
Selfish. Those who would oppose having to pay off other people's debts, other ones that are selfish. A truck driver, a plumber.
Who got a grant to go to trade school and didn't accrue debt because of the grant they got free and clear.
A mechanic who is paying off the student.
By the way, all of those people can still go to college in a lot of cases.
Student loans of someone who perhaps went to Harvard Law School.
No. More than likely, we're talking about local universities for most of these folks. We're talking about $10,000 worth of debt for households making less than $125,000 for individuals, $250,000 for adults. I'm guessing because it was means tested under Biden's plan, if you went to Harvard, unless you were like an inner city or rural kid who busted your fucking hump and went way over the line, good for you. If you went to Harvard, you're not getting any money shaved off your loan. And maybe that's what they're pissed about.
The most educated people in the world.
Like people go to Wharton Business School. Little bunny, fuck you. Little bunny, fuck you. Right.
Those guys are the ones that are selfish. The blue collar worker.
The blue collar worker who got
that maybe skipped going to college and started going to work, or those who went to college and paid their debts back, didn't go to every party, didn't buy the coolest new toy chasing clout.
Okay, fuck you. You were born a third generation rich kid, you prick. Stop pretending you're a part of the hero working class all the fucking sudden. None of the Trump kids would be successful if their grandfather hadn't started this company. None of the Trump kids would be successful if their dad had them 8 years later because he had already fucked up the company at that point. Jesus Christ.
But worked hard, saved, paid back their debts. Those are the ones that are selfish for not necessarily wanting to pay the gender studies major.
I think, ladies and gentlemen, if I may, just hold that pose there, Don. If you'll notice, the examples are always, have a tinge, if not a complete splotch of anti-trans specifically or anti-LGBT to them. Mostly, if you'll notice, predicated on the feminine aspects of those things. So the idea is that the biggest problem with the loan forgiveness is that we're paying off the degrees that chicks get instead of working. Because men go and be plumbers and women study gender, and fuck you for making me put you through school. Honestly, this is what mid-snort looks like.
The doctoral student in underwater basket weaving.
Okay, 80s joke reference. Underwater basket weaving has been around as a gag diploma since 84, at least 85.
All of these useless degrees, the ones that right off the bat will never be able to pay.
Yes, the majority of people who make $125,000 a year or less, or $250,000 or less, do not get those kind of degrees. Most of the people with student loan debt have about $26,000 in student loan debt. $10,000 in Pell Grant, about $16,000 in actual cash debt from the school itself. And if you're at that level monetarily, you are not getting education for education's sake type degrees. Those kind of degrees genuinely are upper class. They are the kind of things you get when your parents make $500,000 or more a year each. People with $26,000 worth of college debt did not get a gender studies degree. They studied biology. They studied life sciences. They might have at most gotten a psychology degree so that they could get a teacher's certificate, or that they could become a shrink, or they could work with underprivileged kids, or they could, eventually go on to be a fucking psychiatrist or something like that. That's the most non-physical degrees you see at that financial range. Most people who go to university and end up with $26,000 to $30,000 worth of debt, and make less than 125 in their house or less than 250 in their total household while still living with their parents, or even when they're married later on, are getting functional degrees. They are not getting poetry degrees. That's not that poetry degrees aren't functional. Simmer down.
Them back, right? The ones where they're going to be in school for 10 years for a job or a degree that no one wants or needs.
Degree that no one. Exactly my fucking point. If they can afford to stay in school for 10 years, they're more than likely, if they're in 10 years on a studies program, whether it's gender studies or fucking underwater basket weaving, that kind of, which by the way is really difficult. I'm just saying. That's something there's a trade school for that. I mean, it's got its own DeVry. You try it. I mean, never mind that your eyes sting because it has to be salt water. It's a thing with the reeds. I don't know.
Shockingly, they're not the selfish ones. The ones that signed on the loan. Remember, it's not good enough.
Again, I know there are people who don't make a lot of money who are making the same argument that he's making, but him making it undermines it more than anything else because he is a selfish, rich prick. He's a third generation rich kid. There is no Don Jr. without Don, and there is no Don without Fred. Period. End of story. There's no way that those tiers of the family make it fucking anywhere in the world if their dad hadn't, their grandfather hadn't created this.
Or the loan or the degree is not worth enough for them to pay it back themselves. But it's worth enough for you to pay it back for them, right? There's no checks and balances.
First of all, they're not paying it back. It's a portion of it. And it's means tested to a certain income bracket. It is so that people who may be the first in their family to get a college loan and have a harder time bracketing up out of that can handle it a little better. I'm for that if that makes more educated people in our populace across the board. Most people are. Nobody is saying that the government is going to or should give a full, anyways, in my argument circle, give a full ride to people who, got a $800,000 Harvard degree on the poetry of whippoorwills.
From the universities who keep jacking up their tuition, who come up with course loads like
the guys that
the fashion of Harry Styles. You've seen all of these ridiculous ones.
No, I haven't. What?
From the universities who keep jacking up their tuition, who come up with course loads like, the fashion of Harry Styles.
Mm-hmm. You're gonna love it because it's dumber than you even thought it. Here's the thing. This university is offering a course on Harry Styles, which sounds like something else entirely. I keep expecting to see like how to make a ghillie suit or the fashion of Wookiees. Now, where? California? Probably right in Portland. Probably right in the Castro in San Francisco. That's what they're doing. Stars, brace yourself. A course on Harry Styles is coming. That's right. From spring 2023, students at Texas State University. Yeah, that's right. Fucking Texas. Jesus Christ. What? It's official. I'm teaching the world's first ever university course on the work of Harry Styles. It's happened in 2023 at Texas University. See description. This is what tenure looks like. Let's go. So this Louis Dean Valencia is teaching class titled Harry Styles and the Cult of Celebrity, Identity, Internet, and the European Pop Culture. The course will explore how the British singer-songwriter's career intersects with gender and sexuality, race, class, nation, and globalism, media and fashion, fan culture, internet culture, and consumerism. According to Valencia, the course will not focus on Styles' private life, but on his art and public activism, films, literature, philosophy, and music. The course will also explore the 28-year-old's gender-neutral beauty line, Pleasing. When asked about his decision to launch the world's first university course on Harry Styles, Valencia admitted to being a big fan of the singer, you think? During the pandemic, I couldn't do my normal research for over a year because of restrictions. So I started to think more about the world that influenced him, music, film, literature, and how he influenced the world. Since I've always studied youth culture, it felt natural to also study fan culture around him, just like any other great artist. I believe we can study and learn from his work. He added, in short, as a historian, I want the class to get to really see how the world has changed in the last 12 years or so, but also how to put that into historical context through the lens of Harry Styles and how they can learn from his art, activism, and philosophy like any great artist. You've said that part. I honestly, he dresses like somebody who's guest hosting the Muppet Show. More universities are offering courses on prominent musical artists. Texas State University isn't the first university to offer a course on a prominent musical artist like Styles. Several months ago, New York University made headlines after announcing that it would be offering a course on Taylor Swift. The institute has a history of offering classes on prominent musical artists such as Beyonce, David Bowie, Stevie Wonder, and Prince. Cool. Again, this he's talking about. All right, let's see what his Twitter feed says about the content of it. Again, this is a Texas fucking university. Here it is. Okay, greetings from the Honors College. We want to confirm our plans to offer HON 3399Q, Harry Styles and the Cult of Celebrity in spring 2023. We received your preferred teaching times, days, and location. Did our very best to accommodate your request. 11 a.m., room lamp 501. If you have any questions, concerning, okay, message is a high priority. Good for you. Identity, the internet, and European pop culture. Which, by the way, anybody who does who's looking into marketing, social media management, all that kind of stuff is going to take a class like this because it's modern and deals with how things are now, not fucking, typography from the fucking 60s or Chinese Maoist and Russian propaganda posters.
You've seen all of these ridiculous ones. It's the people.
Again, that's not ridiculous. If you're taking a marketing or like a cultural, that's part of your necessary credits, and you can tick one off, you might take that one if you're a fan.
Who paid it back? The people who lived within their means. The people who...
What the fuck do you know about living within your means? This is, again, AOC is talking about... I'm sorry, I have to check. AOC Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Is that... clearly... is specifically talking about him. No wonder he's so fucking sensitive.
Responsible... Those are the selfish ones.
Those are the selfish ones. I wrote, those are the selfish ones on the piece of paper. It's right there. It's so fucking right there.
Guys, that is the Democrat Party today, right? AOC, one of the thought leaders, probably maybe the thought leader of the Democrat Party.
No, she's a contributor like a lot of different fucking people. That's like saying Manchin's the thought leader. Biden is the head of the party. If you got an issue, if you're, again, scooping around, there's a huge difference between going after something AOC says in the current state of the Democratic Party with the breadth of thought within the party versus looking at Matt Gaetz or Marjorie Taylor Greene, for fuck's sake, and what they're saying, and then pretending that Mitch McConnell is the outlier.
That is their logic. The people who are the most responsible should pay for those who are the least responsible.
No, the people who are the least responsible smoked their Pell Grant. Or snorted it, I guess. And didn't show up to class. But got the degree anyway because their dad helped.
The least responsible should be rewarded with benefits. Who cares? What's enough?
Again, what's the least responsible should be rewarded? Fucking hell.
$500 billion. They're saying up to $500 billion, although they didn't even know last week. They announced the plan. They're not really sure what it'll cost, but hey, we can buy some Democrat votes from the people who will constantly need us and who know that if they vote...
If you go... For the record, if this is such a turnoff for so many voters, then it's as much a risk in terms of getting votes as it is a benefit. To hear them talk, it's a fucking wash. And it isn't, because a vast majority of Republicans support this. It's just none of the fucking their people are going to do it.
Democrat, they'll always have a place to come back to. They'll always have a trough to go to for someone else to take care of their mess. That's the Democrat Party today, guys, in 2022. And AOC thinks that you're selfish for disagreeing with it. Can't make it up.
Yeah, you could. It's just too boring.
Can't make it up.
Can't make it up. You know what I can't make up? Well, I can make up anything. I'm that kind of a genius. What I wouldn't bother to make up is the third generation rich kid asshole making coke money by doing Rumble videos, shitting on someone for calling people exactly like him selfish. Especially because he pals around with MTG and Matt Gaetz and all these other fuckers who got their PPP loans forgiven. Just the whole thing. I mean, no $10,000 of it. No, well, we'll do $10,000 on this end and $10,000 later. We'll knock $10,000 off the interest and call it a day. All of it gone. You can't make a clip. You can't. Nobody bothers to. Billionaire. We're supposed to believe billionaires. Maybe this is part of the marketing. Maybe the whole thing is like, he's so one of us, he has to shoot on his fucking phone and shut it off. You do realize you can turn on the camera and turn it off again with your Apple Watch, right? Oh, God. That's that. Holy shit. What was that? It's an excellent question. Now, let's see. There's so much to this. Is this one short? That's longer. God damn it. There's so much stuff. This is what happens himself. Like, what? Hold on one second. There is I don't know what the interview, where it actually was, where Don Jr., and maybe people know, where he was sitting down on a podcast just recently. I couldn't find the whole part of it. I didn't want to do just a chunk of it. I might do we'll find it and I'll do the whole thing. No, Russell, please. Okay, it's a deal. Let's do this then. I'm going to finish up on this because it's shorter and it's very telling. The whole thing, I think, teaches us all a valuable lesson. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you some folks being interviewed at the Trump rally. Why is this? Here you go. Command plus. There you go. Try to make this a little bigger without the friggin' ads in the background. And she's interviewing, I think, this is one of the regular hosts on RSBN. This is before the Trump rally last time. And she's interviewing these 5 folks, I think they're all wearing, 2 of them are wearing this fake media is the virus. And then 2 of them, I think they have other matching shirts in a pair. I scooped off the part where they were introducing themselves, but I wanted to get to the questions. I have not watched this.
I have to keep going back and forth.
Hold on. It's too loud still. Okay.
But I want to know how many rallies you've been to.
Oh, God. How many rallies have you been to? Because this is all about spontaneous love for Trump. These are locals. This shows how much support he has in Pennsylvania. How many rallies have you been to?
As well as what inspires you to come to these rallies? What is it about President Trump that...
Yeah, what inspires you other than the lack of being inspired by the entirety of your life otherwise?
Gets you out here?
About 34.
34. This woman has been live at Trump's 34 Trump rallies.
Yep, and then on top of that, we do a lot of protests and rallies as well outside of this.
Yeah, she didn't just go to 34. She's also she was part of the trucker thing. She also was in a Trump boat.
Fighting against the corruption.
Hold on one second. Give me 1 second. I think we're going to need support in this situation. In a second, I'll just bring something up. Take this over here. Just doing something. Give me a second. All right, and back to here. And there we go. Hey, man, ask me next. Ask me next. I've been there a bunch of times. I have been to every single Trump rally in spirit, of course. Ha, 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 ha. Come on.
With the selection, obviously. And
oh, she said selection. Oh, snap. Come on now.
Your second part is why I come here.
Yes, that's the big question. That's what we call the $1 billion what the fuck question. That's what we want to know. What?
Because he's the first person to stand up for what this country needs to be.
Yeah, who the fuck is George Washington think he is? I mean, honestly. All them saps that died in the Civil War. Don't get me started on the greatest generation.
About which is America First. And that's why...
Yeah, he's the first person to bring up America First. After Reagan and, I guess, the 30s.
We're here. America First, and he needs to just call checkmate and let's go.
Yeah, call checkmate, let's go. New election, donezo, motherfucker, in. Figure it out. Yeah, he gotta go, hello, I'm president again. Fuck that, click. That's what I gotta do. That's what he needs to do. That's what Trump needs to do.
Let's get this gone.
Let's get this guy. Let's get him. What guy is that? I'm guessing get him in, get that guy in or get this guy out. I don't know. It means either Biden or Trump. We'll find out.
How many rallies and what inspired you to come here?
6 rally and...
6? Fuck, man. You get a free yogurt. 6.
And just love the atmosphere. I love the people. So.
Yeah, it's the atmosphere. It like wafts over you. Nothing better than someone sitting on something made out of an American flag and farting into it in a plastic chair for hours and hours and hours. It's inspiring.
Amy, my husband, Covan, we've been over 20 rallies already.
Over 20. I'm going to need specifics.
From San Diego.
Okay, so they're in Pennsylvania. They came from San Diego because they are there to support Mastriano and Oz. Okay.
And we came from a communist country, so we're not...
San Diego is a communist country? I didn't even know they'd seceded.
...going to allow what we see happening right now. It looks like the direction that they're taking us. We need President Trump.
Right.
He is our president. 46 doesn't exist. President Trump is our president.
46 doesn't exist. He's a fake president, and he lives He works in a fake White House made by the people at Amazon Prime Studios.
And we need him to take this country back, to fight and restore our freedom. And we're going to continue to fight this good fight to keep America great.
Yes, that's the important thing. You got to keep fighting for Dr. Oz to get elected from San Diego.
Well, thank you so much. I mean, as someone that's experienced socialism already,
She said communism, dummy.
How do you feel having to witness the beginnings of it again?
Oh, terrible, man. We got fire departments. We got the Army has the VA. This is terrible.
You know,
what's your message to people that just don't see it?
Yeah, how about wake up, dummy, you dumb motherfucker? It's America's first, and that's my thirst.
My husband right here escaped 19 times from the communists.
19 times? How'd they get him back 18 times?
For freedom. First-hand experience. He got captured a few times.
18, I would think.
I'm a second-hand experience through my parents.
You mean a second generation? I don't think you're not a hand-me-down human. Don't let anybody make you think that, darling.
Captured by communists, and they torture my parents like you can't believe it. So we're not, we don't take freedom for granted. And once freedom is gone, it's gone. Because it's...
That's right. So all those communist countries, any of them countries that are authoritarian, you ain't free now. You ain't never going to be free. Just give it up. Don't even think. Don't even think you can try. Don't do it. If you live in the Middle East or something like that, you're done. Just freedom. I mean, you could probably do it, but it'd take a lot. I mean, it'd take it's a lot of work. I would just not if I were you.
It's very hard to get them back. So we all have to stand up. It takes each and every...
It takes a village. No, fuck me. No, don't say that.
Single one of us to do what we need to do locally and then move up.
Locally? You guys drove to Pennsylvania from San Diego. Why don't you fuck around with SeaWorld? See if you can get any of the leftover killer whales to vote for Daryl Issa.
To restore our freedom, because freedom is not free.
No, there's a surcharge. It's like a country club.
And then
Yeah, freedom is not free. It's like Mar-a-Lago. It's like the omelet bar at Mar-a-Lago. It might seem free, but you pay $300,000 a year for those eggs from a carton and the ketchup.
Talking about it, it's just like we have to relive it, and what we're seeing, we don't like that at all.
Oh no, I hate that's torture.
Many people, especially the liberals, but they have no idea what it takes to remain the land of the free. They have no idea that situations like this even happen in other...
No, man, them Democrats, they don't know shit about history, man. Like, you want to fuck around? Ask them which side were the good guys in World War II. Come on.
Other countries. Can you explain more about when you say your husband was captured 19 times?
He got free. Pay attention, nut. He got free 19 times. He was captured 18. They still looking for him. If he got captured 19 times, he'd still be there.
Why was he captured and what happened to him?
Oh, don't make it his fault. Don't blame the victim. Communists are wily. They're sneaky. They take classes on how to walk in the woods without making the fucking branches break. You can't hear the leaves rustle beneath their feet. They're tricky like that. They hide in trees. Like koalas, just clinging to the tree like that. And then you're just walking by, whistling to yourself, quoting Ayn Rand, counting your money, and then they pounce on you.
He was captured because he was trying to get out of the country.
Well, they won't capture you if you're staying willingly. That'd be a waste of resources.
And each time it cost him a lot of money. And what we didn't pay by money, by gold, and it cost a lot. He lost his brother. They shot his brother right in front of his eyes. And if it wasn't for his dad to pull him back, he wouldn't have been here today. And there's
Who's they? Where is this?
And stories about him trying to escape is unheard of.
I love how this lady right here, they're putting their hands on her back to pray. She's praying right now. She's saying, Lord, let her make her way backstage so she can experience the intimacy that we have all experienced as followers of Donald John Trump. And pray he has a tic-tac, because goddamn.
So then I hope people
She did not say what country.
Don't take freedom for granted. We have to fight. We have to restore our freedom, and we have to keep America great.
So she's a CAG person. So we did it then. She agrees. MAGA. And then she's 100% CAG.
Freedom is gone. There is no other place on earth to go to.
Yeah. Canada's terrible.
I'm so sorry for the tragedy.
Yeah, terrible. Imagine having to live in Belgium or some shit.
Tragedy that you've experienced, but we're so excited to have you here. And on RSBN's behalf and my behalf, we're going to keep fighting for the land of the free and for all of our rights.
Yeah.
I thank you. Thank to RSPN. Thank you, Liz. Thank you, Brian.
Okay, so you guys know everybody there? Fuck me, man. I guess these people have been to over 20, so they've met you guys before.
Continue broadcasting.
We've been here 20 times. This is our 19th interview.
It's real.
We are always one short of freedom.
Happening here. Unlike the fake news, they are the fake media, and they are the.
Yeah, I agree. I prefer the term fake news, but call them fake media. That's fine. I mean, technically, it's real media. I mean, it's recorded on something that's verifiable, I think.
To the country. Yes. Thank you very much.
I'm so sorry.
You know that a lot of people, they didn't know that when the communists, they come in, the first they took over in my country in Vietnam.
Okay, so he in Vietnam, okay.
All of the church, all of the temple, they shut down completely. And they use the kid. Every morning the kid get out, go to school. Then they ask the kid, what your parent talking about? And they report that one right there. And the parent, they say something about the life is not good, something like that one. After that 1 hour, they separate the kid and the family, and they never see each other again. That's the communists.
They take the kids away.
Yeah.
The parents. And the parents, they never see the parents again.
Yeah, that's why we don't do that over here.
And your wife is a rock star. You keep fighting for him and all of us, okay?
We're all fighting. Yes, we're all fighting.
Now, finally, what inspired you to come out today, and how many?
I'm always inspired. Hold on. We gotta shrink this guy down so you can see him a little better. Get over, you jerk. Come on now. There you go. There you go.
How many rallies have you been to?
This is my first Trump rally.
Oh, it's adorable. He's a virgin. Ew. Sorry, you should not say that word at a Trump rally. It draws a crowd.
But I've been at a lot of rallies in the last few months because I got involved with the trucker convoy movement.
Ah, see, he was busy.
We've joined forces with the Ottawa truckers that went through everything they did in Ottawa. I live in western New York near Buffalo. And
it's a great story so far. That's cool. So you, to protest gas prices, you drove around a lot?
We were working on putting a convoy together in New York. And
did you say 10-4, good buddy? And come on back?
Canadian truckers called us up and wanted to know if we would join them for a border event. So we did that in Niagara Falls.
Did they say A at the end of everything? I heard they do that.
At the Peace Bridge in Buffalo and several events.
Great.
And we're showing support there. A lot of trouble up there with their freedom, and I see the same thing happening here. We're just not quite as far down the road to tyranny, but we're going down the same path. Yeah. I see our freedom slipping away.
They're slipping away. You can't, you know what I mean? Sooner or later, you won't be able to drive on the other side of the road into oncoming traffic for yelling MAGA out your window. What kind of country is this?
And I decided it was time to stand up and do something about it.
So you sat down in your truck and you drove.
So we've been all over the country. We've been doing rallies. We're working with some audit people working on election issues in New York.
So Sidney Powell, was she lot lizarding around like with her law cards?
We've been working on the COVID camp issue in New York, and we've been doing a lot of things besides just driving around with our trucks. We're trying.
Yeah, it's just way more than just driving around in the trucks, getting in the way. It is way more than that.
Trying to push back against the tyranny.
Using their trucks by driving around in circles.
I see it coming. I see it creeping in, and they're getting.
Yeah, it's creepy. It's creepy. They hang in the trees like a koala. Wait for you to walk by, whistling, quoting Ayn Rand, counting your money. Pounce. Happens every time.
More bold every day. And it's
yeah, every day. They one thing after another. They do an infrastructure, commie. They passing the CHIPS Act, and they ain't even got no barbecue.
Time we push back.
Thank you for what you're doing. Your hands are full up there, New York.
Sir.
Well, it's a big wheel. And they got all them, there's like 4 other gears. It's busy up there.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a good idea. Don't follow her. Stick on him. Oh, okay. They want a selfie with her. That's nice.
Thank you, Liz.
That was a moment. We all had that moment. I'm glad to have that moment. We shared a moment. Times like these are made for taster's choice. Oh. I felt the magic. You're watching HAL SPARKS Mega Worldwide because I think that shows taste and breeding on your part. I'm over time, which is life. However, I could probably, I kind of want to squeeze this one in. Said an actor to a bishop. Where is it? Where is it? Oh, here it is. The Hunter Biden laptop continues to be a great piece of fiction and a wonderful punchline. And nobody bats around allegeds from that thing better than I'm guessing this is mid-level insurance manager Glenn Beck. That's the action figure he is this week. In his studio with his Sonic cup, just force feeding himself diabetes on purpose. I don't get it. And this is the question. Is there enough evidence to impeach and remove Joe Biden? The answer is no. Let's see how long it takes him to get around to it.
Peter Schweizer on with us. Hello, Peter. How are you?
Hey, I'm great, Glenn. Good to be with you as always. Thanks for having me.
It's Schweizer.
You bet. You are the president, not that you don't know this, but let me introduce you. The president of the Government Accountability Institute.
Which isn't a real thing.
Author of Red Handed.
Which is an ironic title for a book when you absolutely have not caught anyone red-handed doing fucking anything.
And the co-host of The Drill Down.
Ouch.
Peter, I wanted to talk to you about a couple of things. First of all, have you ever seen anything like what the FBI is currently doing with the National Archives to Donald Trump?
Back up. The real question you have to ask, have you ever seen another president sneaking classified documents out in the pages of magazines and between picture frames and refuse to give them back for almost 19 months?
Anything like it?
No, nothing like it. And it's really, truly bizarre, Glenn, because if you look at the issue that is at stake, which is the handling of these classified materials, we had a run at this in 2016 with Hillary Clinton.
No, you didn't.
And, it's worthwhile remembering some of the details. I mean,
let's go through it.
Let's remember. She had this server that was not authorized, not even known by federal security officials. She was found to be storing dozens of top secret and other secret materials.
One moment, please. How many of her emails were classified? Actually, 0. Nearly every day, fresh revelations emerge in the federal investigation and the national security and presidential records that Donald Trump purloined from the White House. So far, his alibis have been exposed one after another as empty, and we have seen no adequate public reckoning of why he took those papers, what he meant to do with them, how some went missing, or even exactly how many documents he hijacked to his Florida estate. Excuse me, I would like to also clarify, Bedminster and Trump Tower are next. As more and more evidence of the former president's reckless and potentially criminal misconduct comes to light, he and his defenders keep pointing to, quote, her emails. They insist that because the Justice Department declined prosecution of former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton after a long and thorough probe of how she handled allegedly classified information, there should be no investigation, let alone indictment or conviction of Trump. But while we don't yet know the extent of or nature of Trump's abuse of classified documents, we can determine how many were found by investigators after exhaustive searches among Clinton's thousands of State Department emails. The accurate and definitive answer is 0. Although few, if any, news outlets have informed the public of that startling fact. Moreover, it is a fact that the Trump administration itself confirmed 3 years ago. In recent coverage that referenced her emails, former FBI Director James Comey is sometimes quoted as saying that of the 33,000 Clinton emails examined by Bureau investigators, 3 had classification markings. That's less than 1/100%, and not worth comparing to Trump's malfeasance anyway, but it's still false, apparently meant to bolster Comey's absurd claim that other Clinton emails were classified, although never marked as such. Those 3 State Department documents were call sheets. Innocuous memos reminding Clinton to make scheduled phone calls. During her FBI interview, investigators showed her one of these memos reminding her to place a condolence call to the president of Malawi. Not exactly a top secret matter. As Comey himself later admitted, any classification marking on that sheet had been wrongly applied. In short, the 3 supposedly classified documents attributed to her emails were barely even confidential, let alone secret or subject to the sanctions of the Espionage Act. Still, the hunting of Hillary never ends, and amid regular threats to her by Trump when she was president, inevitably resumed after the FBI investigation concluded. What has been overlooked is that her emails and those of her State Department aides became the target of not 1 but 2 departmental probes that picked up where her exoneration by the Justice Department left off. The first round, which began under Rex Tillerson, Trump's first Secretary of State, opened with an inquiry into a claim of 41, quote, security incidents attributed to Clinton and concluded after months of argument and appeals by her attorneys at Williams-Connolly. That none of those alleged incidents was valid, though she shouldn't have used a private email server. In that respect, her conduct was no different from her Republican predecessor, the late Colin Powell, who advised her to use private email, or many officials in the Bush White House who advised her to use private email, or many of the Bush White House, including Karl Rove. The second State Department review commenced with more fanfare in 2019 under Tillerson's unscrupulous successor, Mike Pompeo, who, it is worth noting, soon came under official scrutiny himself for gross and self-serving misuse of State Department resources. By then, the hypocrisy behind the Republican indignation over her emails had been highlighted by massive, repeated security breaches in the Trump White House, where numerous officials, including Ivanka Trump, unlawfully used private email accounts and normal protective protocols were routinely flouted. No doubt Pompeo, a veteran of the House Select Committee on Benghazi, hoped to find something, anything, to arraign Clinton. But again, in the end, there was 0, zilch, nada. Although the second review began with a July 31st, 2019 notice from the State Department officials that they suspected Clinton might be responsible for 12 classified spillages. This investigation concluded 9 weeks later that she did not bear any individual culpability for those incidents. Again, the overarching absurdity of the State Department and FBI investigations lay in the fact that nearly all of the documents at issue had been classified retroactively, meaning they had carried no markings identifying them as such when Clinton handled them. Comey's assertion that documents can somehow be deemed inherently secret without proper markings or any classification history whatsoever is extremely dangerous and hostile to the concept of open democratic governance. It is an idea that should never have been entertained by a free press. Nobody in their right mind would hold Clinton or any official to be culpable under those circumstances. The same cannot be said for Trump in the current documents scandal. Now let's back up a second and let's hear Peter Schweizer lie again.
Not authorized, not even known by federal security officials. She was found to be storing dozens of top secret and other secret materials.
That's a lie.
On that server.
That's a lie.
They didn't know about it. When they discovered it, she had her lawyers go through and delete the emails that she felt should be deleted.
You do realize that emails never go away, and that wouldn't have removed them from the State Department servers or the government backups at all.
The FBI concluded that her server had been penetrated by a foreign intelligence service.
No, they did not. I mean, this is just fucking lazy. And again, Schweizer and Glenn both view themselves as good and decent Christian men. This is what you would call bearing false witness. These are egregious and absurd lies.
And then she destroyed the phones that she had been given as Secretary of State. That is all
what you're supposed to do.
Very consistent in the sense of the issue of what we're dealing with Donald Trump.
No, it isn't. As a matter of fact, if something's secure or something could get out in the wind and you don't destroy it, you're putting, you're possibly exposing top secret information. If Trump had taken all these documents, they weren't the original copies, but he realized he'd had some copies and he was like, shit, we don't even want to make sure these get back. I'm letting you guys know I've got these documents. I'm destroying them here. I have copies. I'm destroying the copies right now.
Which is...
It might be comparable. It'd still be illegal, but...
The National Archives claiming that these materials, it's not being handled properly.
Hi, Matt. And by the way, and all the trolls, welcome. So glad you guys could be here. Look, it's not your fault that Truth Social is taking a giant shit. It's not your fault that the SPAC that backed it is refusing to give it more money to help pay its bills. And it's not your fault that Trump and Truth Social are stiffing a company for their web hosting costs that was specifically built to service right-wing causes and social media messaging. It's not your fault. No, I take it back. It is your fault, and it should be even more your fault. What I would suggest right now is that after you're done giving me a thumbs down, or leaving a comment, please do, by the way, because you expand us out into the greater interwebs with the algorithm more than we can do ourselves. You guys are why we're growing so fast, and I can't tell you how much I appreciate it. Just go ahead and give a thumbs down, because the algorithm doesn't care. It just likes interaction. It really doesn't. If you're off the clock as a paid troll anytime soon, feel free to just hang out. No hard feelings.
But instead of handling it the way that they did with Hillary Clinton, which is to engage with her lawyers, try to work it out, of course.
No, they engaged with her lawyers, tried to work it out. She engaged with them directly. She sat down for a specific interview. She sat for multiple conversations with them, 2.5 hours in one sitting. And I think in 2 days in a row. Trump won't sit anyway. He just pled the fifth 440 times. You know why? Because the mob pleads the fifth. Criminals plead the fifth.
They let her get away.
Clinton did not plead the fifth.
Away with a lot of stuff.
That's right. Trolls, also go to @HALSparks. Follow me on Twitter and @HALSparks on Instagram. Lots of opportunities for you to be inappropriate and gross and point to the fact that your arguments and your crowd and your dear leader are morally corrupted and disgusting and have no parallels with Christianity or family values or any of the things that Republicans used to pretend they were for. I know it's a job. You got to do what you got to do.
Not what they did here. They were engaged with Donald Trump's lawyers.
And then he got a subpoena. He paused it. And then when they got footage, they realized that the count of classified documents that was going on was intentionally falsified because they have video of people coming and going from the room during the time when they were supposed to be just counting what was in there. They moved some stuff out, looked in the room, said, we didn't find anything. We looked all through the storage room. And then they took the other boxes and they brought them back in, except for one. Oh my gosh, Justin. Okay, I will. Just go. I'll check Washington Post breaking news. Okay, thank you. Washington Post. File seized. Okay, so this is the nuclear part that we were talking about. There you go. Some of the documents seized on August 8th detail top secret U.S. operations so closely guarded that many senior national security officials are kept in the dark about them. There you go. Pages from the FBI property list of items seized from the former president's Donald Trump's Mar-a-Lago estate and made public by the Department of Justice. FBI agents who searched the home found empty folders marked with classified banners. The inventory reveals in general terms the contents of the 33 boxes. A document describing a foreign government's military defenses, including its nuclear capabilities, was found by FBI agents who searched the former President Donald Trump's Mar-a-Lago residence and private club last month, according to people familiar with the matter, underscoring concerns about among U.S. intelligence officials about classified materials stashed in the Florida property. Some of the seized documents detail top secret U.S. operations so closely guarded that many senior national security officials are kept in the dark about them. Only the president, some members of his cabinet, or near cabinet level official could authorize other government officials to know details of these special access programs, according to people familiar with the search who spoke on the condition of anonymity to describe sensitive details of an ongoing investigation. Documents about such highly classified operations require special clearance on a need-to-know basis, not just top-secret clearance. Some special access programs can have as few as a couple dozen governmental personnel authorized to know of an operation's existence. Records that deal with such programs are kept under lock and key, almost always in a secure compartmented information facility. That's the SCI stuff, and that's where the word SCIF comes from that you've heard so many times, with a designated control officer to keep careful tabs on their location. But such documents were stored at Mar-a-Lago with uncertain security more than 18 months after Trump left office. After months of trying, according to government court filings, the FBI has recovered more than 300 classified documents from Mar-a-Lago this year, 184 in a set of 15 boxes sent to the National Archives and Records Administration in January, 38 more handed over by a Trump lawyer to investigators in June. Those are the ones that they put in a red envelope and wrapped in tape, proving that they did not declassify things and they were handling them as classified documents regularly, and more than 100 additional documents unearthed in a court-approved search on August 8th. It was in this last batch of government secrets, the people familiar with the matter said, that the information about a foreign government's nuclear defense readiness was found, probably Israel, I'm going to guess. These people did not identify the foreign government in question, say whether at Mar-a-Lago the document was found or other details about one of the Justice Department's most sensitive national security investigations. It's the same thing. It's the same as 3 call logs that Hillary had.
And then they conducted this raid. And it's important to point out, by the way, Glenn, that the Department of Justice and FBI have always had kind of a policy as it relates to election years and not taking sort of deep provocative actions, 90 days or so before an election. They certainly did it in the case of the raid on Donald Trump. It was because it was time sensitive and he was trying to drag it out to get it closer to that so he could guarantee himself another 3 months with the materials, dumb fuck. Very visible. It was very clear cut.
What do you think?
No, they did it. They didn't announce it. He announced it. It would have come and gone. They would have picked up their fucking boxes. They could have made up a story. They wouldn't have answered it at all if he'd have gone, yeah, they had to come and pick up stuff for the National Archives. Totally cool. No big deal. The FBI has to do it, though, because it's sensitive stuff. And nobody would have been the wiser. There would have been a little bit of a dust-up story, and that would have been that.
I think this is about, Peter. What do you think?
What do you think this is really about? This can't really be about actual secrets and the fact that this fucko left him at a rental property.
This is really about.
It can't be that. It could never be that Trump is wrong. It's got to be about something else. Is it about the Great Reset? I have a book to sell.
I think it's about a combination of things.
Yeah, of course. Obviously, it's you have a rash, it itches and burns.
I think number one, there's no question that there are certain elements of the FBI, particularly at the Washington headquarters, that are smarting at how it was revealed that they sort of jerry-rigged the Russiagate investigation. I mean,
no, that they don't give a rat fuck about that. They have to get these things back. These are wholly unrelated. They can chafe all the fuck they want. This is bullshit. They did not raid fucking Mar-a-Lago as a way of getting back at Trump because he hurt their fifis. Get the fuck out of here, Government Accountability Institute president. Jesus Christ.
I mean, remember the revelations. You've talked about them regularly. Mm-hmm. The misconduct by senior FBI officials. First, you have Peter Strzok making all those comments.
Yeah, geez, those Twitter comments about what a fuckhead Trump is.
To his lover about Donald Trump and his despising of Donald Trump and his...
Right. I mean, which basically shows taste and breeding on Peter Strzok's part.
Reporters.
I don't know why a guy would be grossed out by a guy bragging that he can grab women by the pussy becoming president of the United States. I don't know why that would chafe anybody. Do you know Peter? Do you know Glenn? Do you know Stu? Do you know Peter? Do you know Glenn? Do you know Stu? Like, why would anybody mind if a dude who brags about grabbing women by the pussy without even asking would become president? I mean, what kind of a loser would get upset about that? Why aren't you cheering it on? How does it not make your heart swell with pride?
Then you have documents that go to the FISA court
that would make it less likely for Carter Page's FISA warrant to continue.
Been altered. Then
to help Trump, not hurt Trump.
You have clear evidence the procedures weren't being followed. That's deeply embarrassing to a law enforcement agency like the FBI that is supposed to be all about process. They have a
right. They were, and you guys twisted what the process was about. And the way you've been talking about this, along with Donald Trump, has led to a dude showing up with a fucking nail gun and a rifle at Cincinnati FBI headquarters, and people getting death threats who even work with the FBI.
A process to deal with every investigation. They did not follow it.
Yeah, well, they didn't follow it when they announced that they were continuing the investigation into Hillary's email, which turned out to be bullshit, but helped Trump get elected. Without that, Trump loses. Without that Comey moment, Trump loses. That's why he was trying to recreate it with Zelensky 2 years ago.
And then they tried to cover it up. That is institutionally embarrassing, particularly to FBI senior officials who've been there for 25, 30 years and were running the show at the time. So I think that is a component of it. I also think more broadly speaking...
Again, fucking gibberish. He thinks the FBI willy-nilly raided Mar-a-Lago just because they were miffed that they got dunked on or something. It's a bunch of macho bullshit.
There's just a lot of institutions in Washington, D.C., apparently including now the National Archives, that don't like Donald Trump, and they have a...
And unlike the Government Accountability Institute, who weekly takes jaw-stretching exercises and classes just so they can unhinge their jaw to gargle his balls.
Separate set of rules for him than they do for people like Hillary Clinton. And here's the problem.
No, false standard. You're lying again, Schweizer. And Glenn Beck is furthering this lie by either not pushing back or not interrupting.
Glenn, you're a student of history. You can
No, he's not.
Probably expound on this better than I can.
No, he can't.
If you look at the decline of civilization.
But enough about what it's like to drive to Sonic with Stu.
Or if you look at the loss of freedom in countries.
Yeah, statistically speaking.
Absolutely, elections are important. Even more important is when the judicial system favors certain people.
Yeah, it favors people who don't break the law over people who do.
And
it's terrible.
Used to go after other people. When you undermine the judicial system in that way.
Well, that's what you're doing. I would argue that that's what you and Glenn Beck are doing. You're the ones undermining faith in the judiciary and in the FBI, not their actions. I mean, the dude Gish Gallop threw, 4 lies about Hillary Clinton in the early part of this to create this false balance between the two, going, well, this is the same as this, therefore both of them are a wash.
You are in a very, very precarious situation.
Well, when you pack a court, that's the end.
Oh, you mean like Trump did?
Yeah.
There's no country that has ever recovered from packing of the court.
Yeah, I mean, the Mongols, it was the court packing that got them in trouble. I mean, remember when the Romans packed their court?
But we are approaching everything else in our judicial system. It's becoming just quite amazing.
Okay, that was nothing. He was not ready to be asked a question or referenced, and he just filled it with like IntelliFluff. I'll use, sort of honorable sounding language, grandiose words to fill the space so that you don't dare question that I just didn't actually fucking say anything that has anything to do with anything. Listen to this again.
Of the court.
Hold on.
There's no country that has ever recovered from packing of the court.
Okay, we have not packed the court. We have not done that.
But we are approaching everything else in our judicial system. It's becoming just quite amazing.
What does that mean? We are approaching just everything else in our judicial system. It's becoming quite amazing. The fuck? Is that the key to radio? Have I been putting too much thought into this over the years? Am I trying to do too many goddamn jokes and make too many decent salient points? Is that my problem? Am I not growing as a channel fast enough simply because I don't know how to fill time with like 50-cent words every so often? Just keep yammering till the break so I can so I can suck off that Sonic next to me. Look at this shit. Like this dude's never had a medium anything.
Let me ask you, Fauci.
Let me ask you this. Can you kick my ass?
He just said, I'm going to leave, before January. I think hoping that, since the Republicans are going to have the call to, have a power to call a committee together and look into Fauci and others,
they still would be able to look into anything that happened in the year and call him forward. You couldn't take his job away. The motherfucker's 80.
That he was like,
he doesn't care.
I'm on a beach someplace.
Also, he made that decision after the tide turned, dummy. He didn't make that decision before Dodd. #Rovember.
I don't think that's going to work. I hope it doesn't. I hope they get him. If he was lying, I want to get to the bottom of it.
Trust me, Glenn, you're already at the bottom.
Absolutely.
But do you think that what we know about Hunter Biden?
Oh my God, stay somewhere. What the fuck?
Do you think people like Mitt Romney, and you would get anybody if you won the Senate and the House decided to go with impeachment just based on the things that we know? Do you think there's more to be found there?
No.
And
it would be enough to impeach Joe Biden?
No.
Yes, I think it would.
That's because you're an asshole.
And here's the interesting thing, Glenn.
No, I don't want interesting. I want facts. Like what, fucko?
Wait. Not just to impeach. Wait. I do want to make sure I'm clear on this. Not just impeach, but remove.
First of all, you have to take both. And you'd have to have a filibuster-proof majority. You're not even gonna get that. And you'll lose.
That's another question, of course. I do think that the evidence is clear.
Oh, so he's if you can impeach him, but he's not removed, then he's exonerated. I mean, if we're using the Trump standard, right? You guys said it. If they get the House and they impeach Biden, but the Senate doesn't remove him from office, I mean, he's exonerated, right? That's the standard. That's what you guys are saying. That's Trump is literally skating on that.
Really there, and I think if we have these hearings in the House with Hunter Biden, and by the way, it's interesting to note, Glenn, the left I think overreached as they often do, because remember. There was an individual named Steve Bannon who was just charged with contempt of Congress. So what happens when the House calls Hunter Biden next year and he refuses to show up? I mean, you've got a problem there.
No, he's not a cabinet member. He didn't work with the president. There's all kinds of precedents. If you can't just call somebody before a committee for the fuck of it, unless you're going to file criminal charges against him. Again, it's not going to happen. I don't even know why I'm worrying about it.
If you are on the political left. But my view is this is open.
You got me on this one because, what? Sorry. I used to watch the TYT suck lately. Anna's been given conservative, tough on crime, attacking California. Oh, I see. She's just got to be, it's contrarianism. It's how they make money.
It's always been not a story about the hookers, about the cocaine, about the drug abuse.
Because then you'd have to because the Democrats would have to bring in Mike Pillow, and then what?
And it's not even been a story and
then Trump, and you have to go, well, what's worse morally, paying for sex with another consenting adult, or grabbing a woman you've never met by the genitals and forcing yourself on her and kissing her without consent? Let's have that debate in the well of the Senate, shall we?
About Ukraine and Russia. For me, it's always been about espionage and about the fact that Chinese intelligence has their claws into this family. And
how? Based on what? Where the fuck has Biden been tiptoeing around China? He formed the AUKUS agreement, for fuck's sake. He said he'd defend Taiwan if they attacked it. But he didn't call back Nancy Pelosi, and then we sent House delegates afterwards. Where is that? Honest to God, what is the evidence that if the Bidens got some money out of China, China is not getting a return on their investment? Clearly. Right? What is China getting in return? We're reshoring chip factories. We're moving one of the Taiwan semiconductor companies. One of their factories is going to be built in Arizona just in case.
All you have to do is look at, very simply, the 4 businessmen that Hunter Biden received tens of millions of dollars from in China.
No, you don't. You'd have to look at if they made money in China and they got anything else for it other than an investment. The Trumps got all kinds of money from Russia and $17 million in Trump's own personal account in China, but they never built anything. There was never an investment structure. They just hoovered up the fucking money. So what are they expecting in return? And they certainly got it. He was palling with Xi and with Putin the entire time he was in there. He was, obviously with this hope that one day there would be fucking Trump Tower Moscow or Trump Tower Shanghai.
They're all directly linked to the highest levels of Chinese intelligence.
Everybody's linked to the highest levels of Chinese intelligence. Fucking Amazon and Tesla and all these companies. If you do business in China, the contractor you're going to be working with is going to be 51% owned by the country. And China is going to put people in there to control the situation, not because they have control over the American side of it, but to make sure that their workers that they have there aren't guanching their way out of it.
And that ain't a coincidence.
No, a coincidence would be They did deals like this, and Biden refused to protect Taiwan. Biden refused to send carriers in to circle Taiwan. Biden refused to work with Australia and the UK and Japan to protect Taiwan or the South China Seas. Biden didn't go forward with the South China Seas economics zone that they were putting up together because it would offend China. Where has there been a time other than kind of jovial talk where, other than, Biden hasn't like said, fuck you, Xi, and hung up? What has China gotten from the Biden administration? Fucking bupkis. Nothing. They get nothing. Good day, sir.
And by the way, it would have been pretty easy for Hunter Biden to discover who these individuals are. We were able to do it based on public records. He could have done the same thing. So the point is that puts it into a different category. The problem that you have with elected officials like Mitt Romney is
he's really a rhino. He doesn't really care about America. He just wants to be a powerful dude in Utah with a car elevator.
They really do view high elected office as a club. And I understand, Glenn, you want to have camaraderie.
If they did, then they would have, maybe they do, and that's why Trump wasn't kicked out himself.
Right? You want to try to get along with people. You want to try to have a sense of common purpose. But you can't gloss over major crimes and major security threats.
Name one. Name one. What are you talking about? I have not read this guy's book, and I shouldn't have to understand what the fuck he is talking about on Glenn Beck's show as an interviewee. If they're that big, you should be able to go, oh, fuck, the Shanghai deal. Obviously, this is related to the Xinjiang massacre. Obviously, this is related, you know what I mean? You should be able to call up, the bridge to nowhere and over the Bund in Shanghai, whatever the fuck. You should be able, if these are giant deals and it's self-evident that there's some sort of, quid pro quo going on there, you should be able to name them like you can about these mystery forgivable loans from Deutsche Bank while Russian oligarchs were punching money through there and through the Bank of Cyprus where fucking Wilbur Ross worked before he joined the Trump administration. Money laundering at the Bank of Cyprus and Trump hiring Wilbur Ross to be his Treasury Secretary, that's a dead giveaway. Trump's loans through Deutsche Bank that he has no means to pay back and has been able to somehow just put them off and put them off and put them off forever. And the roots of where that actual money came from, which we know is Russia, nobody even questions it. That I was able to do, it's pretty fucking easy. His Deutsche Bank loans. You should be able to do that with Biden if that's the case.
That club thing is ridiculous. If Rush Limbaugh would have been corrupt and doing all kinds of things.
Rush Limbaugh was trafficking like 30,000 painkillers. He fucking threw his cleaning person under the bus. Rush Limbaugh, dude went deaf from his own drug use.
That would hurt our country. Every talk radio host in America would have turned on him.
What? Is smuggling 30,000 pain pills into the United States not bad for the country? What's the standard? 45,000?
Would have turned on him.
Yeah, and the reason is, by the way, is because
also Limbaugh was never elected to fucking public office. He doesn't have any access to anything but his own ass.
Because by him doing that, it would have been horrible for the club.
Exactly right.
That's the way that Mitt Romney, unfortunately, does not see it. So, yes.
And secondly, if you want a real crisscross between fucking Romney and Limbaugh, Romney, through Bain Capital, bought up a bunch of progressive and liberal radio stations throughout the country and flip them to conservative, and they consistently lose money and they don't give a shit because they view it as a PR campaign for their tax breaks. They view it as propaganda for the Republican Party. Now, they have investors, and legally they shouldn't be able to invest in things with their investors' money that they know are going to lose money on purpose. But they don't care because they think the long-term benefit is worth it, and the type of investors they have know this and don't give a fuck.
I do believe that there's going to be grounds there. I think for Anthony Fauci, the question...
Oh, now you're fucking bouncing back to Fauci. Like, did you hear them answer anything that I brought up? Not that I get to ask them directly, but it should be self-evident that during this part, they should go, oh, this deal led to this thing. This is the quid, and there's the pro, and there's the quo. Like that, if you're going to make extraordinary, accusations against the president of the United States, then make it. But you don't get to just be like, anyways, Fauci, blah, blah, blah. This is like a fucking parking lot conversation with a maggot. You know what I mean? Where you literally start talking to one of them, and then as soon as you start nailing them down on it, or they have to put up or shut up, they bounce to like, well, the fucking Fed needs to be audited. And you're like, all right.
And I talked about this a little bit in Red-Handed. Let's just try to get to the bottom of this question of where this virus that shut down our country, that killed a million people, where it actually came from.
It came from Wuhan. The question is, did it leak out of a lab, or was it in the wet market? All signs point to that it showed up in the wet market. It could have showed up in the wet market in a couple of ways. One is the same guy who's getting bats for the lab brings them down. They go, we only need 10. He takes the other 20 and he sells them at the wet market. They have the same disease in them that they brought to the lab. That in China, if you've ever been, is a completely reasonable thing. That is entirely possible. That it makes total fucking and even to the point where they're like, okay, we only need these 10. They all, they'll do. We need to do a random sample. And those you'll just have to incinerate. So promise? Yeah, I promise. And then he goes and sells them at the fucking wet market. That's how it works. The other possibility. The guy brought all the sample bats from that area. They used them in the lab. When they died or they were done with them and they went to throw them away and they were supposed to dispose of them, somebody took them because they needed the money and snuck them out and sold them in the wet market for food. That's also something that happens in China with great regularity. It's not fucking surprising at all. The difference is that the lab leak theory, the reason they say lab leak specifically is not because, it is because they can hide behind the cover of them basically saying that it accidentally got out. It leaked out of the lab. But the inference that they're putting in there, or that you're supposed to take away, the implication that they're making is that it was made in a lab and leaked, as opposed to found in a lab, and then the animal it was found in was later sold, or parts of it were sold for food, or it spread to other things, or they had multiple ones and they all had like 10 or 15 bats all in the same area, had the same specific pathogen in them. 5 of them went there, 10 of them were sold at the wet market, and it's a naturally occurring disease. It was just, that's how it got out. That's fucking how. The other part is, past a certain point, it doesn't fucking matter. There's 2 things you've taken away from it. One, the Chinese government can't be trusted in terms of dealing with pandemics and epidemics going forward. So you have to pretend like they are not an honest player in it. That's not hard. Everybody agrees. Trump and Biden are both, we're all on the same fucking page on that part of it. The question is do you think, and is the assertion being made by these guys, that the CCP made a disease on purpose as a bioweapon and sent it out? That's the inference you're supposed to take away in your conspiracy-laden mind. And from that, I see a couple of issues. The primary one being that if that is the case, then why do these motherfuckers hate the idea of our government coming up with a vaccine using our pharmaceutical companies to fight back against it. And why, if you look at how China is locking down fucking everywhere and they have this zero COVID policy, why the paranoid thought that you would naturally take from this circumstance is, holy shit, if they made it in their lab and they released it on purpose and they're not letting anybody go anywhere, if they even test positive, they're locking down whole cities, they must know something about the deadly nature or the ubiquitous symptomatic problems of this virus that we don't know. Therefore, we got to do everything we can to protect ourselves from it. So, if they're locking down, especially if you believe the bioweapon line, which is what they're what these assholes are talking about, what they're implying. Yeah. And Michael in our chat room points out, of course, that the Chinese vaccine does not work. It's beyond even the fact that, and that's really why the lockdowns, because their vaccine doesn't work.
Yeah. And what we know for a fact is that Fauci very early on immediately jumped in, not as a scientist or as a medical professional. They wouldn't do that. As a bureaucrat, and immediately declared, no, this had to be naturally occurring. This is not a lab leak. I mean, he immediately killed that. Yeah. He needs to stand before. Okay. Now, again, it's exactly what I'm talking about. So they're making the assertion that he's saying it's naturally occurring. This is naturally occurring. Now, the science that he had access, let's see. This is the National Library of Medicine, Journal of Medicine and Life. Let's see where this one. Hold on, let me find. That's NIH.gov. This is on the NIH.gov's website. SARS-CoV-2 as an artificial creation, scientific arguments and counter-arguments. Discussions and questions about the origin of the virus that causes coronavirus disease 2019, COVID-19, have been frequently raised and widely debated among all communities since the first large-scale outbreak was detected in December 2019. COVID-19 has rapidly acquired a pandemic status, leading to the death of more than 600,000 people all across the world at the time of this writing. This is thus, it is crucial to discover its origins to prevent another viral outbreak. The main theories regarding the origin of severe acute respiratory syndrome coronavirus SARS-CoV-2 that are that it arose naturally as a zoonotic infection, that it was deliberately engineered as a bioweapon, or that it has accidentally leaked out of a biolab in China by researchers that were studying a virus related to the SARS coronavirus. Therefore, this leads to a highly debatable question: is COVID-19 a man-made or naturally occurring disease? COVID is an envelope virus with a single strand, positive sense ribonucleic acid genome. It contains a total of 4 genera: alpha, beta, gamma, and delta. The beta genus is classified into 4 lineages from A to D. Scientific evidence shows that the virus causing COVID-19 belongs to the B lineage of the beta coronavirus group, which is the same group of another epidemic causing virus, severe acute respiratory syndrome coronavirus, SARS coronavirus. Because of its similarity, it was named SARS-CoV-2. Argument: naturally mutated. Argument, counter-argument, manner. While study results proposed and supported the theory that COVID-19 is a result of naturally occurring event, there is another suggestive theory stating, this is from the NIH's website. This is the organization that Anthony Fauci is the head of. They posted this. It's been up for a while. There's another suggestive theory stating SARS-CoV-2 is an intentionally engineered virus that was unintentionally released from a biolab in Wuhan, China. The origins of the epidemic and the probable bat source have raised skepticism. The Wuhan Institute of Virology report stated that the source, bat-related coronavirus, was found in the southern area of Yunnan, same as the origin of the SARS-CoV-2 outbreak. Comparatively, the adjacent Wuhan Institute of Virology had raised a higher possibility of this disaster pandemic by spending $44 million on the National Biosafety Laboratory,
level 4. Naturally, the origins of the epidemic were investigated. All the studies of Shi Zhengli, the lead virologist from the Institute on bat-related coronaviruses, were centered in the southern subtropical areas of Yunnan. However, the outbreak occurred in Wuhan, which is almost 900 kilometers from Yunnan. This cliffhanger seems to point to a possibility that this novel strain of coronavirus was leaked out artificially. Even though the Chinese government discredited the possibility of a lab origin based on the genetic studies, the distance of the epicenter from the bat caves raises questions. Moreover, it is widely known that the studies involving the study of transmission of bat SARS-CoV-like coronaviruses using cell culture and animal models, such as laboratory mice, have been conducted for many years all across the world. Based on the scientific evidence, it is possible that an inadvertent laboratory release the progenitor for SARS-CoV-2, theoretically mutation of the receptor binding domain, RBD, of SARS-CoV-2 through adaptation during its passage in cell culture is possible, since this was observed in previous SARS coronavirus passage studies. However, a recent study provided a more parsimonious explanation on the alterations of SARS-CoV-2 receptor binding domain through recombination or mutations with more robust evidence. The final perspectives. Many, wasn't there one more? Hold on. There's man-made virus, naturally. Okay. So there's two, that it's naturally mutated or that it was man-made. And furthermore, another research suggested the involvement of the immune system is needed for the generation of O-glycosylation on the virus. Therefore, it is improbable for it to have happened as a result of cell culture passage. Although no scientist has come forth with any definitive evidence that proves human manipulation of the virus using any genetic engineering method, there are situations involving human intervention that have been reported. It must be noted that some important features of the spike proteins on SARS-CoV-2 have also raised suspicions on whether the virus is man-made. This is because both S1 and S2 sites of the spike protein demonstrated optimal portions, which facilitates the penetration of the virus's RNA into the living cell that could weaken the host defense of the host. Besides, similar sequences were also indicated in the protein's endonuclease and 2-OMTase, NSP16, and other sites SARS-CoV-2. Final perspective. Many hypotheses, blah, blah, blah. In conclusion, all these specific features observed in SARS-CoV-2 help scientists rule out the idea that this pandemic caused by the novel coronavirus is the result of a man-made action that could be either engineered in the laboratory or further created as a bioweapon out of conspiracy. Recent discoveries reveal evidence of the presence of the virus around the world before it emerged in Asia. There is growing evidence of its true origin as a global organism that was waiting for favorable conditions to emerge instead of originating in China. Recent testing of sewage in Barcelona has suggested that the virus may have been present in the Spanish city in March of 2019, many months before China identified the pathogen in the city of Wuhan in December 2019. Based on the results available, it is most probably that this is a natural-born virus that emerged from an animal host, most likely a bat, without any direct piece of evidence about its intermediate host. Nevertheless, researchers have yet to find a definitive answer to which animal serves as an intermediate host for the disease, the virus and disease. Besides, questions on the role of SARS-CoV-2 in T cells have been raised, especially with evidence from recent postmortem findings of its preferential impact on CD4+ and CD8+ T cells. Therefore, further studying of all microorganisms is mandatory in order to understand how they evolve, how they live, and how they transmit, which may be the key to solution of hindering the spread of COVID-19. Conflict of interest. The authors declare there is no conflict of interest. Here's all the references. This is on the NIH's website. It talks about, and this is from January, February 2021, well into it with some study and going through it. So the idea that somehow, A, you're not allowed to talk about it, or that he jumped on it immediately, or that he was proven wrong later is bullshit.
For the American people and explain why. Because here's a guy who's declared himself as science. So you explain to us why, and we need to get to the origins of this. To this point right now, here today, Glenn, as we are talking, going back to 2020 when the virus started, there has not been a single congressional hearing in the House of Representatives on the origins of the COVID virus. There hasn't.
So fucking what? We have mechanisms in place in the World Health Organization and in our own NIH and CDC that are working on that separately. A committee hearing of fucking Jim Jordan shouting down people who are actually trying to give a fuck about something is going to affect anything.
been one in the Senate either.
Again, so fucking what? The origin didn't come from here. There's not an appropriation for this that makes any fucking sense. If somebody wants to bring an amendment or a bill to the floor that sanctions China for the release of COVID-19 based on the predicate that it was a man-made virus and it got put out and that's the way they're going to do it, and it will if it gets to the floor, it would get debate on the floor. But a committee on it won't do anything.
That is shocking to me.
That's because you're dumb.
Shocking to me.
Because you're a moron.
If you view this as a war, almost 1 million Americans have died.
It's not a war.
We've had this huge damage to our civil liberties and to our economy, and nobody in responsibility in Washington wants to know how this war started. Or
first of all, if it's a war, then the second one is coming, and anybody who isn't getting inoculated is arguably clogging up the medical system for the next COVID that comes through.
Who's responsible? It's ridiculous. So I hope they make that a priority. And Anthony Fauci needs to answer questions under oath, not rushed, not with a 5-minute rule, but very specific questions he needs to answer about why he tried to cover this up. Because you'll notice,
he didn't.
Glenn, the conversation is shifting. A lot of people are coming out of the woodwork now and saying there is mounting evidence that we've talked about all along.
Yeah, people can say whatever the fuck they want.
That this was man-made and created in a lab.
No. There aren't lots of people that are saying that. Lots of people like you and Glenn are saying it, but you're talking out of your ass. It's not lots of scientists are coming out and saying that, and nobody is shutting down any scientist that thinks it, that's actually done any of the fucking work. There's not a single, none of, like, even in this case alone, like, there are people who believe this, and they did like, they're here, Chan J, F, Caucasian, and Zhu Zi at the Genomic Characterization 2019 Novel Human Pathogenic Coronavirus Isolated from a Patient with Atypical Pneumonia After Visiting Wuhan. So this is the information that they're getting on here is 8 and 9. Origin, pathogenesis, diagnosis and therapeutic interventions, frontiers in bioscience. Here's another one. The origin of COVID-19 and why it matters, American Journal of Tropical Medicine. There's the PMC free article. Shall we look at this? Here you go. Origin of COVID-19. The pandemic is among the deadliest infectious diseases that have emerged in recent history. As with all past pandemics, the specific mechanism of its emergency in humans remains unknown. Nevertheless, a large body of virologic, epidemiologic, and veterinary and ecologic data establishes that the new virus, SARS-CoV-2, evolved directly or indirectly from a B coronavirus in the SARS-like virus subgroup that naturally infects bats and pangolins in Asia and Southeast Asia. Scientists have warned for decades that such sarbecoviruses are poised to emerge again and again, identified risk factors, and argued for enhanced pandemic prevention, blah, 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 blah. There's a whole article on it. How they emerge. They emerge as coronaviruses. Here's a breakdown of which ones and the parts that break off. Recent coronavirus emergencies. Coronavirus emergence risk. Here's when they normally come. Was COVID-19 predicted? It is also highly unlikely that SARS-CoV-2 was released from a laboratory by accident because no laboratory had the virus, nor did its genetic sequence exist in any sequence database before its initial GenBank deposition, early January 2020. Emergent mechanisms. They could have had an offline version there. Just saying. Wouldn't be surprising. But there you go. They're talking out of their ass.
More with Peter Schweizer here in just a second. If you haven't read Red-Handed, you need to.
No, I really don't. If it's as rambly and refuses to get to the point the way he does when he's talking on the fucking phone.
All of the people in Washington that are just taking money from our enemies.
Like who? What the fuck are you talking about?
It needs to be stopped.
China.
We'll talk to Peter Schweizer a little bit more. I've got 2 questions on Joe Biden that I think are disturbing coming up in just a second. So, Peter,
the questions or the answers?
I find it amazing that we haven't had time to look into, the the laptop of Hunter Biden. FBI.
Yeah, it's because it doesn't exist.
Guy just has not had the time to do that.
They don't have it.
They
doesn't exist.
Haven't had the time to finish the Durham report.
The FBI is not in charge of the Durham report. The FBI has no say in the Durham report. Durham can finish his own fucking work.
And yet, boy, they arrested a couple of people who were accused of stealing Joe Biden's daughter's diary, which they said wasn't real for a very long time. And I'm all for putting people in jail who stole something. They shouldn't have stolen it.
But there should be a double standard at least.
However, that is disturbing if you know what was inside of that diary.
Allegedly.
Yeah, and look, I mean, nobody obviously knows exactly, if this is her diary.
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it? I mean, just pretend it is. You know what I mean? If it says something terrible, it's probably real. I have Glenn Beck's diary here. It's weird. He did it on a series of Post-its. The stuff he says about what Stu uses his old Sonic straws for is really disgusting. I can't tell if it helps him pee or he just likes the sensation. Anyways, Glenn Beck's Post-it diary right there, allegedly.
I mean, I haven't done any forensic work on it. Maybe other people have. But again, it goes back to this larger issue, Glenn,
of bullshit, fake evidence,
which is he's president of the United States.
Yeah, that's true.
His family is engaged in these financial relationships with Chinese officials.
No, they aren't.
Who are linked to the CCP.
No, they're not.
And now there's a document floating around that may or may not be accurate.
It's not.
That apparently has some very salacious, damaging things to Joe Biden. Are foreign, are foreign intelligence agencies aware of this? Do they have copies of this? Has this been used as leverage?
Also, again, blackmail material is worthless if it's already out. If everybody knows about it or they can find it somehow and the reaction has been just like, then who gives a shit? Blackmail is only blackmail if you've got the threat of release. Everything that's on that they keep throwing up about supposedly that's damaging from Hunter Biden, like the pictures and blah, 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 that were obviously stolen from his phone or deep fakes or whatever, doesn't fucking matter. They're out. If they came out and it didn't affect, he still won the presidency and he still doesn't give a shit. Who cares? Nobody cares. You can't blackmail someone for being an addict in the United States of America anymore. This is not 1951.
Against Joe Biden. I mean, these are the kinds of questions that used to be asked during the Cold War.
Yeah, because people were assholes about being gay or addicted. So what? It's one of the best reasons why gay people should be allowed to be out, especially when it comes to the military and like intelligence services, or even in the culture of the United States, is because there was a tremendous amount of blackmail going on in the Secret Service in the United States and in other countries that if they found out you were gay, you would lose your entire, your family and your wealth and your job, and it was all going to get thrown out the window. And then once we get open about it in the United States, you can't blackmail anybody with it. Nobody gives a fuck. I have a picture of you with a man having sex. It's my husband. Like, nobody cares. It's still not evidence.
We have an entire counterintelligence apparatus that is supposed to look into this stuff.
You don't have to pass a counterintelligence test to become president. You don't. I mean, Biden did when he became vice president. Super easy. Trump would have never passed. Trump could have never been a vice president because he would not have gotten through the vetting process.
And explore it. And yet it's sort of head in the sand kind of mindset in Washington.
No. It's not head in the sand. Nobody gives a fuck. Nobody fucking cares. Like even when we joke about Don Jr. being coked out of his fucking gourd, it's only a worthwhile reference because of his rich kid status and that he's a bloviating asshole. I'm not worried that he's going to like sell nuclear secrets for fucking blow money. He's not going to get access to that. Nobody cares.
In DC, it doesn't matter what the vulnerabilities or the possible points of leverage that form.
There are none. If the shit's already out, you can't have leverage. If you do not do what I tell you, this naked picture of your wife will be on the cover of other magazines. It's like blackmailing a Kardashian at a certain point. We have sex tape. Me too, but you're going to have to pay for it. Like, who cares?
Intelligence services.
One of the reasons why you drop a lot of the like kind of gray area moralizing shit, especially when it comes to national service and people's general existence, is for national security. The fewer things you can get blackmailed on, the less we all have to fucking worry about, especially if it's a no harm, no foul thing. You should only be able to be blackmailed on shit where you're like, if you're in a Miss Lindsay situation.
Have on this president, we're just going to pretend they don't exist.
No, we're not pretending that pictures of Hunter Biden smoking in the fucking bathtub don't exist. We don't care.
And that's the part that is truly shocking to me. And you're quite right. The priorities of the FBI when it comes to these issues, I know for a fact, because it's been reported back in 2020, that Tony Bobolinsky shared his materials with the FBI.
Uh-huh.
There's no evidence, and I have it on pretty good authority, that nothing has been done with that material.
Yeah, because the only issue that comes up is tax related, and there's an open tax case anyways. And I got news for you. The hard drive that floated around that's supposed to be evidence would never be evidence in anything. If they even went near it, any first-year law student could get the whole fucking case thrown out. Like, Your Honor, every piece of evidence they have against my client, including his taxes, they got off this hard drive, and the chain of evidence on that thing is fucked. We don't know where it came from. We don't know which files are real. We have no responsibility to make the state's case for them. We want the entirety of that and everything related to it. Any document that's on that you found elsewhere without proper cause through other means to be thrown out. And they would. The whole fucking case would get thrown out. All of it. I'm not kidding. Like, I mean, there's no hard drive and there's no real laptop in the, period. Let's start there. But even if there was, the worst thing you could do with evidence that you want to use against somebody is fucking copy it and copy it and copy. Like, Your Honor, I found the smoking gun. It's not actually smoking. This is not the actual gun either. I 3D printed a copy of it, but it's pretty close. And if it were just used, it would be smoking. But the original one was smoking. Trust me on that. Now, if you test a bullet out of this one, obviously the rifling will be different because it's a copy. It's not even a copy of the original. It's a copy of a copy. We made dozens. I've got a bag of these guns here. Your Honor, any one of these guns can serve as the murder weapon for argument's sake. Shut the fuck up.
And now you have this FBI official who reportedly the whistleblowers identified as slow walking or suppressing the investigation of Hunter Biden?
Nah. No whistleblower has identified any such thing. That's ghost bullshit. Come forward. We had Vindman. He spoke out. The minute people questioned his existence, he came forward and became a target. The rest of these guys, I don't believe they exist. Ron Johnson and Grassley are talking out of their ass. They're taking fucking, phone calls and hello, this is Chuck Grassley. I was in the middle of sucking peas off of a butter knife. What can I do for you? I'm an FBI whistleblower. I have information about Hunter Biden. Well, hang on a second. I have to spit out my mashed potatoes. I like having them both at the same time. Oh, that was a toenail. Where was I? Well, I'm an FBI agent, but I don't want to say who I am, where I am, or what I'm doing. But you're going to have to trust me on this. The Hunter Biden laptop is real. I'm touching it right now. The pictures on it are just disgusting. There's videos on here that are filth. I've watched every single one of them half a dozen times. And I was so disgusted I had to do something. So I pulled up my pants and I needed to tell you, can I, if you want to see what I've seen, talk to, what was his name again? Rudy, how do you spell it? Julia. His name is Rudy Giuliani. He's sitting right here. No, he's not sitting right here. I cannot see him right now. No, not at all. Wait a minute. How do I know this is, hello? How do I know you're real? Hello? Hello? Mary, get in here. I got a call from an FBI whistleblower. I couldn't tell if he said there are 14 others like him or he's 14. Doesn't matter. Write this down as best as I can recollect.
The reporting's been, Glenn, is that he resigned and he's retiring and he's getting his pension. I mean, that's...
Wait, we're jumping to fucking Fauci now?
That's
it is sick what's going on.
It's sick. Sick. An 80-year-old retiring. Who's ever heard of such a thing? It's disgusting.
It is really sick.
It's sick. It's sick that someone who works for the CDC and the NIH who stops people from, checks notes, getting sick, is retiring at 80 years old.
Going on.
If I may, and I may not, if I could just, another point that I'm not making.
I mentioned a name that nobody's heard for a while. Durham.
Yeah, what a loser. It's almost like everybody Trump hires is a complete fuck up. Oh my God. What is it? Every time Durham gets something, it gets thrown out later. Psh, fucking nothing. Where is this Durham thing?
Where the hell is the Durham?
Yeah, what is it? I mean, it's not possible that he's looked at all this stuff and he's got nothing. That's not possible. Hold on one second. Let's see. So we got this looking for something very specific and do. Oh, it's got to be in here. Hold on. Nah. I was trying to find a mustache that's good enough for Durham, but it's hard to find. I can't find it. I don't have a Durham mustache. I don't have one. God damn it. So.
Report.
Yeah, the Durham report and also the Hunter Biden grand jury.
Yeah, it's as if there isn't a thing, and if we got the Hunter Biden grand jury in a tax case, it would wreck the whole fucking case, and therefore he could get it thrown out because they talked about what was going on in the grand jury before he actually had a trial, and he could argue he's not getting a fair trial, and we'd have to throw the fucking thing out.
And what could be going on?
What could be going on is you have your head up your ass.
Again, they violated it, in blazing glory with.
Excuse you?
The Trump raid. But the DOJ has had this policy that 90 days or so before an election, you're not going to come out with something that's damaged. That may be what's going on with the grand jury, because I do have...
Never question Durham. God damn it. I'm operating on my own goddamn time frame. I'm Durham, for God's sakes. It's called the Durham report. It's not called the Schweizer-Beck report. Fucking catch up. God damn it. Oh, man, at times I have to tell you fuckers. This is disgusting. Look, I'll finish my report when I'm fucking done with my report. Okay? I've got a couple of T's to cross and a couple of I's to dot, and I'll be done somewhere around 2027. Just hang in there, will ya? Hold your goddamn horses. I'm Durham, you son of a bitch. I'm Durham.
People that are aware of what's going on.
I'm aware of what's going on. I know better than any of you fuckers.
That seems to be, there's been a lot of activity. They're kind of quieting things down. But again,
I'm doing no such fucking thing. All I do is yell. I walk around the goddamn office going, I'm Durham, goddammit. Somebody finish chapter 5 of my 25-page report. Shit.
What people are looking for, Glenn, is consistency.
That's right. Like, every day, my mustache looks the same.
If you're going to have a 90-day rule,
measure it yourself.
It should apply to a grand jury. It should apply to the Durham investigation. It should also...
Wait a minute. So I got to... Hold on. Shut the fuck up, Schweizer. So I got to stop my goddamn investigation for the next 90 goddamn days and do nothing. Do you want the report or not? Because I didn't want to say this. I did not want to say this, but goddamn it, I'm going to say it right now. It was coming out in 2 weeks, just like my hero, Donald John Trump. In 2 weeks' time, it's coming out. And then what happens? I'm 2 weeks away from releasing the goddamn thing, and then you tell me not for 90 days because it's too close to an election. Shut the fuck up.
To apply to major FBI operations where they show up with guns and the media's present in these dramatic raids.
Well, hey, they're dramatic for a reason. Have you ever watched FBI files? Have you ever watched Criminal Minds? The FBI, the only difference between them and local law enforcement is the FBI has their own theme song. They show up and it's all suspense music playing in the background. Sometimes I can't even ask these fuckers questions because of the goddamn strings.
And it's the inconsistency.
It's not funny. Shut up.
The fact that the different rules apply to different people in the same circumstances, which is, I think, what has angered people.
You think you're angry? I'm Durham, you dumb motherfucker.
The most, and has made people.
I do not have diabetes. Shut up, chat room.
Distraught.
MAGA PI. I will punch the chat right in the penis.
About the course that our country has now been on for a while.
Yeah, we're in a terrible course. And I'm this close. I'm edging on my report. You can wait a little longer, you Mr. Russian hands and Roman fingers. Don't give me no lies and keep your hands to yourself. I'm Durham, motherfucker.
With the amount of money that our government is spending now, Peter.
Are you kidding me? I am paying for the entire Durham report out of my own pocket. It's cost me $75 and every Bed Bath & Beyond coupon I can find.
I know this is really what...
Stop saying diabetes in the chat room.
You've been... this is what started you on...
Jew? Why'd you say Jew? That's weird. Glenn, you're... Started Jew because his name is Schweizer? Is that where you get this? What was that again?
You've been...
how the fuck... What happened to my face? I changed mustaches midstream. That's not right. Get back in here, you bastard. Nope. I look all French now. Thank God. That's weird. Where did it go? Nope. Very Freddie Mercury. I had it a second ago. Then it went someplace. The fuck did my mustache go? This is terrible. Oh, here it is. I'm back. God damn it. Shut the fuck up.
What started you?
I was undercover. Durham goes undercover, okay? You don't think they're giving me this stuff, this information for the Durham report? You motherfuckers don't think I'm getting this stuff for free, do you? Stop saying diabetes in the chat. Quit it. If anybody says Quaker Oats, I'm out of here.
On so many of these journeys was the waste and the corruption.
Oh, fuck you, man. I've had to write 2 personal checks and both of them bounced.
Of our public funds. I really think when somebody looks into all the connections and where our money has gone in Ukraine, my gut tells me
that Sonic is a mistake and that constant eating of meat and carbs on that level is doing irreparable damage to your fucking colon. Sorry, that's what your gut is telling me.
It is a massive scandal waiting to be uncovered.
Yeah, because nobody, I mean, this is not officially, I'm off the clock. This is not officially part of the Durham report. Don't think for a fucking second that this is, I'm Durham, goddammit, but I can have opinion on a thing or two. It sounds to me like you're rooting for Russia there, pal.
Yeah.
But with the amount of money that we're spending, the amount of money that could be being funneled into dark kinds of things is
war is hell.
Astounding.
It is. They're numbers with lots of zeros.
These guys are too fucking smart for me. I'm sorry. I fucking walked into a rake. I shouldn't even be in this room with the level of intellect that you're seeing here. Yeah, numbers with lots of zeros. That's way above my pay grade. I mean, I'm Durham. I'm a grunt. I work on the ground level of justice, not up there in the high clouds of the echelon of like war crimes and money laundering and that kind of stuff. That's not something I give a fuck. I want small time corruption in big time hallways. I'm Durham. Get used to the idea.
At the end, lots more zeros than you and I are ever going to see.
I don't know. You're surrounded by zeros, Glenn. Every time you pass a fucking mirror, you see one. You fucking dunce.
A large number of people in Texas together are ever going to see. It's a huge problem.
In Texas together? What kind of orgy are we talking? I'm Durham. If I don't get invited to a fucking Texas orgy, it's not an orgy. Just a bunch of assholes naked. Not just the assholes. That's some people focus on that. It's up to you. It's none of my business. Just let me know. Let me know if the mustache tickles.
Well, and look, when it comes to Ukraine, in my mind,
what the fuck? How do we bounce around from Hunter Biden's laptop to fucking China and Fauci and Ukraine and me and fucking stay on topic, you pricks?
It's really possible to believe 2 things at the same time.
Oh my fucking God. These guys, no one, even if I released the Durham report, they wouldn't understand it. It's possible to believe 2 things at the same time. Do you even Durham or not, bro?
Number 1, Vladimir Putin is an aggressor that has moved into neighboring Ukraine. He's created this humanitarian crisis.
All right. Okay. I'm with you on that one. What's number 2? I'm guessing it's going to sound like number 2.
And number 2, the Ukrainian government is corrupt. And we are going to pour billions of dollars in there that is going to end up in overseas accounts. We know Zelensky's already done this. This has been done by the International Consortium of Investigative Journalists. They got access to overseas bank accounts that.
Well, excuse me. I got news for you. And look, I don't know everything about everything, but I am fucking Durham. I know a thing or two about a thing or two. And I don't know if you guys are aware of this, but Ukraine is fucking overseas. Durham out. Sorry, I just fucking think.
Government officials that have been arranged through shell companies. Zelensky had some of those. We know that the people...
Because the Russians are trying to gut their fucking economics. They have to hide the money from Russian hackers. Are you stupid?
that backed Zelensky coming to power, particularly an oligarch named Kolomoisky, is deeply corrupt.
And very upset that his job has not been done very well.
And has been implicated in siphoning off billions of dollars of U.S. aid. So what you're saying is already happening, and it's a tragedy.
Yeah, and if we can save a couple of $1 million, who gives a shit if Chechen and Wagner Group rape squads punch their way through small towns all over Ukraine? You know what I mean? Not our fucking problem.
Peter Schweizer, thank you so much. We'll talk to you again. Peter Schweizer.
Jesus Christ. I mean, I apologize for that one. I think we're all dumber for having watched that shit. What a waste of fucking time. Good Lord. I got to sign off. Like I said, tomorrow I'm going to have a morning show. And then I've got to bail and go to the airport right afterwards. Like fairly early, actually. So it might just be a 1 hour show if that's okay. And then I'm going to be flying tomorrow during the afternoon show. So I apologize. It's just, that's the problem with going east. And then I will be, in DC. So I'll be doing the show from my DC hotel. So wish me luck. But it should be a good time. Very excited. I will be doing little mini report. Last time I was in DC, I did a lot of like reels on Facebook and little YouTube shorts from DC. I'm going to do more of those this time. And I hopefully my and by the way, a bunch of folks are like they keep going for. Hold on, let's see if we do this. Mama just killed a man. All right. I'm going to be in DC, darlings. Darlings, I'm going to be in DC. Okay. And I will be keeping you posted at all of the things that I've done. And the whole thing will be the greatest thing you've ever seen in your entire life. And I think that's the important part. And I don't think you have to be afraid of anything. And if I could leave you with anything, I'd like to say, Flash! Ah! He'll save every one of us! Thank you, and good night, and may your God go with you. Love you. Bye. Glad you liked Durham Poop Picker Upper. Thanks so much. Thanks, Trucker John. Thanks, Stan Money. Thanks to everybody who subscribed. Thank you, Pam J. Thank you, Aaron. Thank you, Francie. Thank you, Tabitha. Thank you, Justin. Don't forget to subscribe. Patreon.com/HALSparks. Okay, bye.